And my microphone was muted. We're back. Welcome to Small School Saturday from UW-Platteville. I'm your host from Division I Rejects, Kobe Manzo. Today, we have got an incredible show ready for the fine folks of Platteville, the fans of the Pioneers, ahead of what is undoubtedly one of the biggest games in all of the country, let alone Division III football today, boys. Like I said, I'm your host, Kobe Manzo, a man at the left side of the desk. Your right, a man who shares my last name but not my face, Cade Manzo. What's up, buddy?
Hey, I'm happy as heck to be here, running on fumes, but got a nice rain in me this morning, so I'm ready to go.
I love that. Inside of the proverbial Manzo sandwich, marathon champion, former Falcon,
Coach
Howard. Seth Howard joins us at the desk once again. Seth, what's up, buddy?
So glad to be back in Platteville, Wisconsin.
Yes.
My first time here was not rather successful. Last time we were out here with the boys at River Falls, we definitely took a big L, but happy to be back. Hopefully it's a success and a win, per se, today, boys.
A much more enjoyable outing, and finally, all the way to my right, your left, James Martin, the fourth.
Yes, sir. The fourth. That's right.
Ready to get it going today, huh?
Yeah, absolute blessing to be here. Let's have a great day, guys.
Let's absolutely do that. And fellas, before we get into most of today's show, I mean, we've already got an incredible turnout here at Platteville. Look at the tailgate lot here from Platteville, Wisconsin. These guys are absolutely ready to go. This tailgate has been loaded up. Fellas, we were arriving here today. We're getting here, 4 or 5 hours before kickoff, and there was a line to get into the tailgate parking lot. The Pioneers certainly do it very well, as the drum line is going to be making their way by us here already this morning. This is a very nice welcome to UW-Platteville as the Pioneers prepare to take on the Eagles today in a big-time WIAC matchup.
I think somebody said they got here at 6:30 and the tailgate opens at 8 a.m., which is absolutely incredible.
Not even going to try and talk over this, fellas. This is awesome.
Oh, here come the boys right behind him, too. Look at this.
Yep.
This is the Walk of Champions from UW-Platteville as the Pioneers prepare for this afternoon's kickoff. Led by head coach Ryan Munz.
I love the Ville hat that guy's got on. I don't know who that is, but that is a great hat.
Come on, fellas, let's go. The boys in blue, come on.
Here we go. That is the Walk of Champions, boys, and we'll leave the camera right there as we start to preview the events on today's Small School Saturday. In the first hour, you see it right there. This is the Walk of Champions, the Pioneers preparing for kickoff this afternoon. We're going to give you a preview of the matchup here very shortly as the Eagles come into town from UW-La Crosse to take on these fine Platteville gentlemen. And then we've got two head coaches in the first hour, boys. First, from La Crosse, a head coach that has been graced on this live program, maybe not the Small School Saturday, but the D1R game day, so to speak, in 2023. Matt Janus joins us live at the desk. We'll have a feature on the longtime coach for the Eagles. Has been coaching for about 50-plus years, and Coach Mike Anderson over there. And then we'll get into some upset predictions. Ryan Munz joins the program, the head coach of these Pioneers. He'll be live with us at the desk here at 11:05, all these times in Central Time for those watching it around the country and other areas. And then finally, boys, to close out this first segment, we've got a former player at the Pioneers there at Platteville, from the best wide receiver on this squad to making music and a tryout and audition for American Idol. So we will talk all about that later on.
Incredible.
Captain America, some would say.
That dude was a dog here, by the way. We'll
Grant
get to that.
Stair, certainly we will talk about that. And then into the next portion of the show, boys, Pat Coleman from D3Football.com will join the boys live at the desk to preview some of the best games in all Division III football.
Look at that.
We are going to talk about our Ghilardi frontrunners. And then, of course, we go to Coach Howard's film room.
Oh, my God.
The former Falcon will break down both defenses today in this matchup. Pioneers, Eagles, give us all the ins and outs. I'm excited about that.
Oh, I'm so pumped. I've been thinking about doing this for a while now, and this is going to be absolutely, hopefully, electric, and maybe learn a little ball today, I hope.
Yeah, okay.
A little ball knowledge.
We can check the ball knowledge later on. But after Coach Howard's film room, of course, get into our Division II game previews. We've got a team in Division II, even though undefeated, boys, 6-0 on the season, they're snubbed from one of the top 25 polls. Kind of interesting story there.
Very.
We've got our line breaker segments looking at over, unders, spreads, different analytical, so, kind of algorithmic, if you will.
Wow.
Checks from around the country there. And then Matt Schwarzler will join us live at 11:53 to preview the top NAIA matchups of the afternoon in today's slate, boys. And finally, to close out today's episode, we've got some fun things to finish Small School Saturday this afternoon. A GPAC showdown, a conference and a game that really has meant more in the recent years. We're going to dive into what is usually the biggest contest inside of the Great Plains Athletic Conference out there. We've got our difference makers, of course, for today's matchup, and then we will close out the show, as we always do, with our game picks across the country. Finally, picking the Eagles or the Pioneers in what will undoubtedly be an incredible matchup here this afternoon. Close the show out around 12:30 Central Time. And actually, fellas, it's not on the graphic because it's a little bit of a late edition. The Chancellor from UW-Platteville will be joining us live at the desk. How about that?
Dude, that is sweet.
Dr. Avetovich will be joining us here at the desk on Small School Saturday. We are so excited and so privileged to be here, and this is going to be an incredibly fun matchup throughout the entire course of today. And I want to say, first of all, a huge thank you to Platteville for making this happen, let alone financing our trip, making sure we can get out here and set this up and give us all the resources along the way to make a production like this possible. We are so fortunate to be in these chairs and talk about these respective teams, and the people from Platteville have been nothing short of first class. So, fellas, I think it's time we get into this matchup history. These two teams, this is one that in the last 10 matchups, it's been as close as it gets. 5 wins apiece. It's been so back and forth. Today, undoubtedly going to be a very similar one. Lax has won 3 of the last 4, but Platteville, of course, they won the thriller last year, 30-27 in overtime. And I know we talked with Josh Zitzer. We'll talk about him a little bit later on. But, Seth, this Platteville offensive line, what did he say about them?
Oh, absolutely. You know, I didn't have this piece. Whose piece was this?
That's okay. You can roll with it. Well, we talked with Josh, and he told me and told us that they have so much depth, excuse me, not death. Thankfully, all these guys are doing very well, healthy and well. They have a lot of depth at the offensive line position. They've got 3 different guys rotating in at the right guard spot. They've got different guys that are rotating in at the right tackle spot. He personally splits reps at the left tackle spot, and the team lives on the play action pass, is what he told me. They establish the run early, get these eyes drawn in, get these backers, defensive secondary, to come up to the line of scrimmage where the big boys play, and then they're going to throw it over the top and make some very explosive plays. On the other side of the ball, Jimmy, I know you've talked a lot about this La Crosse team. What can you tell me, a quick preview on the Eagles?
Yeah, the offensive line has also been forced to test their depth for La Crosse as well. Losing their senior alignment on the first play versus Carnegie, that's always really tough. Obviously losing a couple more along the way. The talent has never been a problem, even with losing some depth. This year is tighter than ever. These guys are super, super close. The camaraderie has been great in the locker room for these guys as well.
100%. And you know what? It's one thing for us boys to talk about these teams and to, I guess, kind of give you our quick overview. I think it's even better if we hear directly from the Eagles.
We're a gritty bunch that really wants to win, you know.
They have to realize with that, they're going to get our best game as well.
That is a sneak peek at the Eagles from UW-La Crosse. And boys, get me fired up.
Yeah.
You saw the finish to last year's game. Brant Stair, we'll talk about him later. We're going to talk about him making music. He was the one that threw that double pass in overtime. A ridiculous finish from a ridiculous set of teams here. But let's talk about this Eagles squad a little bit. What do people need to know about this La Crosse team heading into this matchup?
This is a team that's played really good football so far, but they have not played their best football yet. And that's saying a lot, being that the number 4 team in the country. Once this team can limit the turnovers and penalties, I know that's kind of been something in the past that they've kind of struggled with, especially the penalties. But obviously last week you have a program-defining win at Whitewater, and a day like today, when you're on the road again against another top conference opponent, this is when you put it all together. And I got an interesting stat for you guys.
Yeah.
Through the first 4 games, 82 of their 133 points scored have been in the second half or overtime.
Hey.
So the offense has been coming out a little bit slow
Like
out of
this.
the gate. come a little bit slow out of the gate. I think in the first half, you got to get Gabe Lynch a little bit more involved. I know last week a lot of his volume came in the second half, which was interesting because they were down so big early. But once they got down and got back to their roots, started running the ball really effectively, things started to open up a little bit for them.
100%. And now the team that these fine folks of Platteville want to hear about. Let's hear about this Pioneer squad heading into Saturday.
You know, there's always
That is it, boys, from the Pioneers. They certainly have a tall task today against this Eagles squad, but what gives you hope about this UWP side?
Well, the thing about Platteville is they play aggressive on offense and defense. And, you know, I talked with one coach within the WIAC, and they said that this defensive coordinator, Dan Bowder, is one of, if not the best game planner in the WIAC. They're aggressive. They're going to bring zone pressures. They're going to play man coverage. We'll talk about that in a little bit here. But super aggressive on offense and defense. They're going to bring those simulated pressures, and they are not afraid to take risks on both sides of the ball.
I like that. Now it's time to talk about two coaches atop the WIAC that have, gentlemen, a lot of deep roots and rich history. This is Matt Janus and Ryan Munz. Together, they were teammates at Platteville in 2006. They went 5-5 on the year. Fast forward to 2010, both of them now on staff for the Pioneers. Janus, a GA, Munz as the offensive coordinator. They carpooled to work together for 3 years, hence the animation, boys. All good things must come to an end, or rise, should I say. Janus leaves for La Crosse, becomes the defensive coordinator, takes over as head coach. They win it all in 2023. They're certainly looking for history to repeat, but the Pioneers, they hoisted the conference title in 2024, breaking what would have been a wild tie in the WIAC, boys. How about the carpool karaoke brothers taking each other on in today's matchup?
I hope people appreciate that. That's sweet.
That is so good, dude.
What a fun, of course, little animation and visual representation of this relationship. We'll get the chance to talk with both of these coaches, of course. Excuse me, man. That was a once in a lifetime.
We're getting there. It's early. We're fine.
It certainly is, but I'm so excited to talk with both of these guys about their storied past, traditions, and history with each other because they have so much familiarity with each other on both sides of things. They've seen every part of the respective other preparation process, and so I'm curious to know what they've learned about each other through this process, playing and being on opposite sidelines. But we are going to talk to one of those coaches very soon as Matt Janus joins us here live. But first, we're going to cut away to our first break of the day as we prepare on the other end for the head coach of La Crosse, Matt Janus. Joining the show now, in his 6th year of leading the Eagles, a man hoping to spoil everyone's afternoon in Platteville today. It's the head coach of UW-La
I got both
Crosse.
headsets on, so I can't hear anything behind me.
Yeah,
But, you know,
I hope those are noise canceling, Coach. Thank you so much for coming back on here. This is a real treat and a real privilege to bring you back. I mean, we sat at the same desk 2 years ago. A little less everything else, right? A little bit less of everything else.
How awesome is this? And I had a player in my office the other day, and I was talking to him. I'm like, how great is it what a time to be a Division III athlete right now, especially like within the state of Wisconsin. There's so many people in tune to what's going on. I look at the last 2 games. We had 26,000 people watch us play. There's going to be a bunch of people here today. Especially in the state of Wisconsin with our conference. There's rivalries, there's hatred. What a time to be a D3 athlete. And then obviously what you guys are doing, right? You guys are promoting all this stuff, everything that we're doing, and it's not just really on the football field, right? It's some of the stuff that Division III athletes are doing off the field. So what a time to be a Division III athlete right now, and thank you guys for all that you guys are doing.
Thank you.
To promote what we got going on and what our players are doing across all schools.
We just showed the carpool animation of you and Munz. That was a fun one to put together. But what were those car rides like? What did that consist of? It sounded like you had a lot of them.
There was a lot. It was fun. I will tell you, the animation that you sent me, I didn't get to see it earlier, but what you sent me, Coach Munz now, he had a big red pickup truck, big, nice,
I think it was like a Corvette, drop top in the thing.
I had a beater Altima, you know what I mean? And Ryan Munz, I was afraid to sit in his truck because it was all nice. He cleaned it all the time, and you go in my Altima, right? And it was he had to clean out the garbage when he got into my car, there's sandwich wrappers, empty coffee, spitters, all that stuff. He had to get rid of all that stuff. So he'd always be he'd look at, he'd open the door, look in the front seat of my car, and be like, come on, Janus, come on, let's keep this thing a little clean. But no, it was great. It was fun. Obviously, great friend, great human being. So that I think you have 50-minute, 30-minute car rides with people, and you just develop ideas and you bounce ideas off each other. And the success he's having here, I could have told you that, I don't know, 7 years ago that was going to happen.
Could have looked in the crystal ball.
Yeah.
Let's talk about your team, though. What have you seen from this group? How have they grown the most over the first half of this season? You talk about some of those recent games, but you've started to put together a string of really impressive wins. They haven't all been wire to wire. What have you seen from the growth terms?
Yeah, I think first and foremost, I think the biggest change within our football team is the leadership that we have. And last year, I was never a big leadership guy. I didn't want to do leadership councils. I didn't want to do all that stuff. I thought it was a waste of time. And then, kind of thought and reflected on a couple games last year where we needed that stuff. And so our group has responded really all offseason with that. We got a phenomenal captains. We got a great senior class. And so I think when you have a senior class, you got captains, and that's where that word experience, that stuff matters as you go into some of these games.
Right?
Yeah, well, the experience, but then the game experience that those guys have as well. That stuff matters in football. And so I think as we've gone through our schedule and as we've gone through it, I think the same thing's going to happen today. Things aren't going to go the way we want them, the way we think they're going to go. And so that group's done a good job of just keeping our team together and not hitting the panic button, even when we were down at times 17-0. Those groups, the seniors, the captain, the experience that they have, they've really kept our team in tune. And then, on top of all that, I thought our coaching staff, our offensive coordinator, our offensive coordinator, Coach Yagi, our defensive coordinator, Coach Zweifel, has done a phenomenal job working with our guys on the bench in terms of game time adjustments and getting our group, hey, this is what we're seeing, this is what we got to adjust to, and really using the bench as a workspace. I think those are really the two biggest things that we've been doing really well right now.
A lot of the guys talked about this lunch pal, blue collar type of mentality. Is that something you recruit? Is that something you develop? Is it a combination of both? How does that come to be?
I think that starts in the offseason, right? I think this was a team and a group that I probably grinded more than ever before in terms of the commitment, in terms of purposely trying to make things like weights, spring ball, trying to make it hard, right?
Yeah.
And camp hard. And so I think when you can push the group like that, and you can push a group, whether it's conditioning, whether it's time commitment, when you can push them, they then in turn are, yes, we are working hard. We understand that. And I think even across all stages, kids, 18, 22-year-olds, they want to be pushed like that. They want to be pushed. They want to be held accountable. And so I think that's what we've done, and I think that's why they kind of adapt that mentality.
I love that. Seth, you got a question for Coach?
Coach, one of your first coaching jobs was being the defensive coordinator at Sheboygan Falls here in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Now being the head coach of one of the best programs in the entire country, Are there still lessons that you learned from that first coaching job, and what would be some of those?
First lesson. That was yeah. You know, I think I learned you can't just play cover 3 all the time at Sheboygan Falls. I did that a ton. I was surrounded by awesome people. Like Brian Berlin was the head coach there at Sheboygan Falls. He's still there. He's the athletic director right now. But he was awesome to me. And I was 23, 24, and so like I thought I knew everything. And I think that's one of the lessons that you kind of figure out as you go along, that you really don't have any idea. But I was 23, 24. I was cocky. I thought I knew everything. And Brian did such a good job and kind of teaching me, okay, well, here's what happened on this play. And so I learned a ton from Brian Berlin. And then I had some really good other coaches around me, like Mike Nixon, Mark Thompson, that did a great job and just allowing me to grow. And, obviously when you're 23, learning to call plays, like that's part of it too. Like I can't just play cover 3 all the time. Good coordinators will figure that stuff out. And so, a lot of lessons with that, and long time ago, but really good memories at Sheboygan Falls.
I had heard the Eagles were going to try and take over the tailgate experience today in Platteville, and we took a look behind us here. I don't know if that has been the case, man.
Hey,
this is an incredible look.
They're on the other side. I walked by and they are here. We got to get the camera. We got a drone there or something?
We got a little sky cam. Yes, sir.
Thing a little higher. They're on the other side of this building. I promise you, they are there. They are cheering the buses on, and they're all standing behind. We got guys standing behind right here. So get that camera.
There we go. Yes, sir. There we go. Yes, we got some Eagle representation.
Zoom in.
There's our guy. There's the one guy.
I love it. Definitely having a great support, for you in this program. That's only grown with success, of course, of Coach. Jimmy, what you got for him?
So the last 2 years, I was very lucky to have such a great offensive coordinator over at Stout. So what's it like having Yagi back in the building?
I love having Coach Yagi back. I think it's always, I'm a defensive-minded head coach, and so I think, with Coach McGuire in the past, we've had that relationship, and we've grown together. And then to have him leave and step away and take a new opportunity, like that was tough. But I think I've known for a really long time the guy that I was going to try to get back to UW-La Crosse. I got a chance to coach him my first year. I was the defense coordinator when he was a senior. We've kept our relationship in touch throughout his whole coaching career, when he was at Temple, all through his time at UW Stout. And so when that change happened, I knew I was going to hire that guy. I knew he was first and foremost the right person. I know how he is as a person, and how he treats players and how he holds players accountable, but also has that relationship ability and the ability to build relationships. And on top of it, having gone and have called plays against them, have played against you guys, that's been really, really challenging as a play caller, as a head coach. I know Coach Z feels the same way. And so to have Coach Yagi in our building back as an Eagle, super, super special. And then, like I said, on top of it, he's just fit in so well with our staff. It feels like we all had relationships with him already. So it wasn't like, oh, here's the new coordinator. We got to figure out how to work with him. It was just feels like he's been there for 10 years already. So can't say enough good things about him. The only thing my only complaint about him, he's a very schedule-oriented guy.
Oh, I know.
Oh, yeah, you probably understand that, right? It's hey, what are we doing 6 months from now at 9:30 a.m.? I'm like, Tark, I don't know how today is going to go. I have and I'm not a schedule guy, I don't plan things, and I don't have that. So that's the only thing. He's always kind of on me about the schedule. It's my only complaint about Coach Yagi.
I like that. And I mentioned before that not every win this year for you has necessarily been wire to wire. Last week, you took care of business. 370 rushing yards on the ground against Eau Claire. How do you ensure that continues today, and what challenges do you see from this Platteville defense?
Yeah, I think really, we want it with that game last week. You get so worried when you're off schedule as a football coach, right? You're out of your schedule. You're saying,
sure.
So I talk about schedules, but we're very wired to play at 1 o'clock, and that game was bumped up a little early. So was really just worried about our team starting fast, and kind of talked about it all week. Hey, we got to get out of the gates. We got to get rolling. And I think a big part of that game was Coach Yagi getting the ball in the hands of our best players right off the bat.
Heck yeah.
And it wasn't sitting around waiting. We go a jet sweep to Jenke. We go 2 carries to Gabe. We get Ott in the throw, right off the bat in the first series, right? You're trying to get all your weapons involved with that. And so he did a great job there. And then as we go into this week, you look at their defense, and I think first and foremost, I cannot say enough good things about their defensive coordinator in Dan Bowder. I think he's been one of the best, not in the league. I think he's been one of the best in the country. His ability to mask coverages pre and almost post snap, and I think you know a little bit about that. But the ability to mask coverages and the ability to create pressure, and then on top of it, him as a play caller, he has there's like that it as a play caller. He has that feel, like that timing of when to blitz, when to go, and so he's so good with that. And like you have to stay out of third and longs with this group, because once you do, like if you get into a third and long with it, you're done. Like he's going to bring the AAA gap blitz. He's going to bring the like the kind of the goosebumps type thing where you're sitting up, you got everybody walked up on the line. Like you got to stay out of third and long. So you got to go first and foremost against a phenomenal play caller, and like that in itself is enough. And then I think they have some really key pieces. I think that Mike's a really good player. Their boundary corner, when you're 6'3", like that's just a long player. It's hard to just create matchups on a boundary corner when he's 6'3". They're kind of their end/outside linebacker, and 48, he can drop on, drop off. Like he's a phenomenal player. And like so you have a great play caller, and then you also match the pieces around that.
Last one for you. Talk about the carpool karaoke maybe going on with you guys in not the Corvette, but the pickup or the Beat or whatever it was.
Ultima, yeah.
What have you learned about your former teammate when it comes to coaching against him, and how has that dynamic evolved?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think deep down inside, I think we both. I think at least I do. Like we kind of both hate coaching against each other. Like there's that there's that emotional piece that kind of comes into it, because we were teammates. We coached together for such a long time. I feel like if you look at both of us, like our coaching careers have kind of gone through similar paths with everything. So there's like that emotional side. But I think we also know that we're both really, really big competitors. So like once that there's the emotional piece of kind of being back, and then once that ball goes in the air, like I know Ryan Munz is going to do everything he can to beat us, and same thing with that. So like I said, I can't say enough good things about Ryan. He's a phenomenal person, and then on top of it, like he loves this place, and he has a long time. I think you talk about those carpools, like he's always been thinking, how can I make UW-Platteville better? And so really this place could not have a better guy as the head coach.
I love that. Coach Janus, the head coach of the Eagles from UW-La Crosse.
Thank you guys.
Coach, you are the absolute man. Thank you so much for joining us. We are pumped to see you and the guys in action.
How long is this carpooling video? I gotta get back.
I will send you the full. I will send you the full copy. I got you, because
it is incredible.
It's a treat.
It's
a treat.
incredible.
Yes, I think
checking out.
People will definitely enjoy it. So, Coach, you're off the hook. Get back to your game prep and your really regimented schedule from Coach Hagan and company. So, yes, I'll get you back to that. But, Coach, thank you so much, man. Really appreciate you joining us. Yes, sir. Absolutely. And we're going to stick with the Eagles here and talk a little bit more about this La Crosse coaching staff. And we need to take a second and talk about and highlight a true football guy. Mike Anderson has been pacing sidelines for more than 50 years, 30-plus of which have been with the Eagles from UW-La Crosse. He's been a part of some special teams in that time. 2025 is the 31st year for the tight ends and assistant offensive line coach for the Eagles, who has certainly made a profound impact on the young men that he coaches.
Coach A is UWL football. I mean, he's been.
Miss your assignment, but you're given a whole bunch of effort and physicality. That's all he's asking for, because you can always coach up the little things. He's the heart of this place.
Whenever I see him, he never fails to put a smile on my face. Like he cracks some sort of one-liner, just the way he says hi. Like I think he just attacks life in a good mood and is always like glasses half full. So it's something that's admirable for sure, because even on my worst days, I see him and I just can't help but chuckle a little bit.
You can just be completely silent in practice, and then you'll go up to him for 1 minute and he'll just say the most silly, outrageous thing in the world. So
I think if you cut him open, he would bleed maroon and silver, and he brings that same energy and passion every day to practice and meetings and things like that.
We were just at Tom Sawyer's. If you don't know where that is, it's a little fish place out in La Crosse, and that man can haul some fish down. And we have a room full of big boys. I mean, 320, 300-pounders. And the one who ate the most fish was Coach A. So like Tate kind of said, if you cut that man open and he's bleeding out maroon and silver, he's also going to bleed out a lot of fish coming out of that thing.
I don't know how he does it, because I've had numerous stories of kids that I went to high school with, their dads saying that they played for him like at UWL when they're in college and they're way older.
He is the guy behind the scenes that makes this thing go and has for a long time, and he means a lot to the program.
An incredible look at what has been a pillar of this UW-La Crosse team, boys. And it came to my attention, we missed some audio on the player videos from earlier. We're going to make sure we swing back around and make sure you guys hear those, because there's some really great stuff. Hopefully that one came through a lot better, because that story is an incredible one. Right now, though, we're going to some of our biggest upset picks of the day. It's going to be a quick segment. Jimmy, give me your upset pick, brother.
You want bold? I got a team that hasn't won a football game in over 1,000 days. Give me
Here we
the
go.
Wildcats
Here
to
we go.
win their first game in over 3 years.
Come on,
Let's go, Cats, baby.
Come on, fellas,
Cats,
get it done.
Let's go.
Get it
Let's
done.
go, Cats.
Hey, I'll stay
Come on.
I'll stay in the GLIAC here, and my pick's going to go along with the segment well, as this is very bold. I'll take the Wayne State Warriors over the Davenport Panthers today.
I like that pick. What gives you the confidence in that one?
Wayne State scored 21 points in the first quarter against Tech. They gave up 24 in the second.
There you
but,
go.
I mean, scoring 21 points in the quarter and lost to Findlay 7-3 earlier in the
Played
year.
very competitive. Correct. I'm going to switch things up, fellas, and go to the NAIA. I'm taking Cumberland over Georgetown, and Seth won't like this one. Coach Curl over there and company. But
No.
the Tigers, this is a crazy one, boys. Georgetown, they lead the all-time series 20-5. The Phoenix have never won on the road in Kentucky. I believe they're 0-10. This would be a massive win for this Cumberland squad. They're 3-1 in games where they trailed at the half in 2025. Love a team that can claw their way back and is very resilient. And I feel really good about that pick, actually. Seth, close us out.
Well, I'm going to take the 14.5-point dogs, Missouri Western, to beat outright Pitt State. You know, you got the
Penn
number
State.
one rushing defense in Missouri Western against the number 3 rushing offense in the MIAA.
Is that in the jungle?
That is in the jungle.
Oh, my gosh.
It is in the jungle. My boy
Oh,
Victor
my
Vera,
gosh.
DB's coach down there, he's feeling confident.
Freezing cold takes.
It's gonna, yeah. Well, hey, this isn't a part of the picks. This is supposed to be bold, right?
It's
am
bold.
I
It's
getting
bold.
this wrong?
You're
It's bold,
bold.
okay? It's gonna be in the battle of the trenches. I'm glad this doesn't go towards my picks record, but give me the Griffs to beat the Gorillas.
As me and Jimmy took teams that haven't won a game yet. We're clowning
In
Seth.
1,000 days, I picked a team.
And that's the boldest one. So,
Yeah.
like I said, I know we maybe didn't get audio on those first couple clips. We are going to go back and revisit, fellas, and hear from these teams because that is what's important to hear from these guys ahead of this matchup. Let's go in and check in with the Eagles from UW-La
We're a
Crosse.
gritty bunch that really wants to win, you know, just hard-nosed Wisconsin dudes that love playing football and play for each other.
We hang our hat on, just like Tate said, being really gritty. I hang my hat personally on being just extra physical. Like when I step out there, I want to be the most physical guy in the field. You know, we're gonna bring our lunch pail and we're gonna try to beat the shit out of you every time we're out there.
We don't like to use the term rivalries, really, because, you know, every game's a big game, and I guess you kind of got a rivalry with every WIAC team. But I would be lying if I said, you know, last year's game isn't still etched in my brain a little bit, you know, just the way that one ended.
Receivers right, one left. Priami steps up and then fires a pass backwards. Stair fires deep down the sideline. Touchdown, Ryan Doherty. The double pass. And you could not have called a better play for overtime.
Yeah, we're physical. I mean, we were down 17-0, and everyone thought that we were out, and here we are. So we're never going to give up. We're going to give you our best, and we realize that all the WIAC is coming for us. I mean, top of the WIAC isn't an easy place to be, but we're going to get their best game, but they have to realize with that, they're going to get our best game as well.
Boys, I don't know if you would believe it or not, the reason we didn't have audio on those clips is the same reason why our whole episode was scrapped last week. So believe it or not, 200-plus episodes into this thing. It's our 4th live show of the year. Sometimes you click a button and things start to figure themselves out, or shit hits the fan very quickly. So I'm very appreciative that we get to talk with those guys before the game, get a great understanding of that. But who would we be if we just showed the Eagles? We got to hear from these Pioneers. Let's go and check in with some of the fellas on UW.
You know, there's always a little something on the table. I won't get into it, but we'll be ready for these guys. Whatever it takes to win, man.
Three pillars on defense are fast, physical, together, and I feel like our defense, we're all about it. All the guys are bought in 100% for sure.
The energy at our games is awesome. When we hear the band play after we score, it gets us absolutely juiced. So that's really what we're striving for, is to hear the band play.
This group is so tight. We love each other and we play for each other, and that's really the best part about playing on this defense.
That is hearing from the guys over at UW-Platteville, and joining us now live at the desk, the head coach of the Pioneers, a man who has invested multiple decades of his life into this program and seeing it to the state that is at today, putting it center stage in the WIAC, the head ball coach, Ryan Munz. What's going on, Coach?
What's up, guys?
Excited to have you, man. We are
Let's
so
go.
fortunate to have you at the desk, and your carpool partner, Coach Janus, just joined us. I asked him this question. I'm going to ask you the same one. What have you learned about your former teammate in coaching against him, and how has that dynamic maybe changed the way these interactions have shaped out the last couple of years?
Yeah, it's a good question.
Right into the heavy stuff. I know.
Right into it.
There was no soft toss.
Also, what's the first play of the game, too, Kobe? Why don't you?
Double pass. Hey, you know,
Can you imagine?
It's not so much not coaching against him. And I think when you you worked with him for 7 years, and we carpooled together, and that's a real conversation. And we had conversations off script about how this would work, how you would do this, how did you do that. So you know his DNA, you know what it looks like. I guess coaching against him is what I thought it would be. It's an extreme challenge because we've talked about certain situations and how we would handle that and how we would recruit and how would we handle this and that. And so for us and for me, I don't ever look at that. And I don't think he might either, but we're just playing the game and how the game's supposed to be played for us, either one, to be successful.
I love that. What is the most rewarding part? I kind of mentioned it. Obviously your tenure as head coach is not the only way you've been involved in this program. What is the most rewarding part of being invested in a program like this for the long haul and seeing a lot of those efforts and a lot of those duties that maybe have gone unnoticed in years past finally come to fruition here in the last couple of years, of course, culminating with the WIAC championship in 2024?
Yeah, I mean, 23 years, right? I showed up on campus 23 years ago as a player, and people forget that it's not just about coaching. And so we talked quite a bit with family and friends and alumni, like even stuff like this. Like nobody knew where Platteville was when I showed up, and now they do.
Hell yeah.
Right?
Hell yeah.
And so you have these conversations where we're making it a great atmosphere. It's always been here. I think Platteville's been a great place. Now we get to show people what it looks like, and we get to show that opportunity to everybody out there in the D3 land that this is a great place to be.
Your on-field performance is not the only thing that has improved here at Platteville. We're looking at an incredible tailgate scene. Check these people out. The line to get into these parking lots this morning was a long one. They have certainly shown up and shown out. You have an incredible contingency here at Platteville. How do you put into words the environment that has been cultivated by you, your coaching staff, the players, but also the administration, the people that have made this place so special, and how do you put that into words, that this group and their support for you guys?
You can't.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
the correct answer.
All right. Dreams and reality, right? If your dream doesn't scare you, you get a new dream. And when we dreamt this up 4 years ago of what this could look like with administration and everybody that's been involved, from the coaching staff to the players, like we were a bunch of crazy people with crazy dreams 4 years ago, and now everyone believes in those dreams.
Yeah.
Right? So like if you talk about that in itself, you can't explain that to somebody. You got to show it to them.
I love that, Coach. Seth, you got something for me?
Yeah, Coach, I got two questions for you. First of all, it's great to finally meet you in person. You know, you play at a really aggressive style of play, both offensively and defensively. First of all, where does that come from? Has that always been a part of who you are?
No.
Okay.
Hey,
like
transparency.
In high school, we were a ground and pound, 4 yards in a cloud of dust, right? Yeah. So I never learned that. And I think when you start getting into the analytics of football and what does it take to win, there's certain things that you have to do. Now, I'll also tell you, when you don't feel like you have anything to lose, you don't worry about those decisions. Yeah. And early on, like we tried to reset the standard and going way back 4 years ago and making some of those decisions to get the first win of your career, going for it on your own 35, 4th down and 2 against a number 10 Bethel to get that thing going. Like people are like, why would you do that? We're trying to win the game.
Right.
And so I don't know any different. If it worked out, you're awesome. If it didn't, I guess it didn't.
Absolutely, yeah. Hindsight's 20/20, man.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Second question for you. I think you have maybe some of the best uniform combos in the entire country. Yeah, I mean, absolutely unbelievable. First of all, who decides what to wear on game day, and do you have a personal favorite?
These are the important questions. This is a great question, actually.
I actually decide what we wear on game day.
I think that's a great decision because you don't want to go pair that a combo that doesn't make any sense. So I love that you're picking that.
Yeah, it's and we are blessed with a bunch of different jersey combinations, and it's something that came from the predecessor, and we're able to put that into the deal. But you look good, feel good, play good, you win, right? I mean,
like
that's part of that conversation. And if you're not in that right now, it's not relevant, right?
Yeah,
Kids love the swag, so we get them swagged out.
Do you have a favorite one?
I like all orange.
Oh, okay.
Okay, not what I expected.
I feel like that might be controversial
Yeah,
in
that's
the
not what I
locker room.
expected.
Wait, am I right about that?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, they could take or leave it. I don't think your jersey's lucky. I just think you got to play ball to win.
Well, you guys kick ass in all of them.
Yeah,
I will
that's-
say.
there it is. There it is.
Point taken.
Yeah, so we just showed the double pass from last year.
Okay.
Overtime. You talk about a gutsy call. How about an overtime trickery to put things away against one of the best teams in the country? How did that win change the trajectory of this team in 2024?
Yeah, it obviously it's a catch-22, right? You're going into that, and you got to knock the top dog off in order to put yourself in a situation.
Yeah.
We already had the belief, and I guess the biggest thing for us was it gave us validation.
Yeah.
Right, and our guys know then that they can play with anybody in the nation. It's just a matter of playing that whole thing through. Because if you go back and everyone talks about that play, that wasn't a clean game.
No.
It was a pretty ugly game on both sides, and I think when you play big-time football, that's what you have to get used to.
Yeah.
You have to get used to fighting through adversity and playing those ugly games and then finding one or two plays that it's going to help you win, and that's what it's going to be today. I mean, it's going to be the same thing.
And Coach Janus has come and gone. So, fellas, I think we can agree that since he's gone, can you let us know if there's going to be more trickery to start things off or maybe to close things in today's matchup?
Yeah.
Yep. Just between us. Just between us.
Kickoffs at 1. Watch the live stream.
Spoken like a true pro, man. Jimmy, what do you got for Coach?
So, Coach, obviously La Crosse, really tough team today. What's the recipe for success today? What needs to happen for you guys to go beat La Crosse?
Yeah, pretty cliche. We got to block, we got to tackle,
Okay.
and we have to make
Love
plays,
it.
right?
Love it.
And the schemes are there, the coaches are there, the players are there. This whole thing is going to be a matchup that should go 4 quarters. But in this league, and everyone can attest to it, it's the definition of insanity. You keep trying that thing over and over and over and expecting results that are either going to hit or not, and it comes down to those things. If you can't make those simple plays, you won't have success in this league. You don't get freebies.
Yeah.
I've heard a lot of words to describe this league, this conference. Insane is the first, but this contingent, this fan base is, I think they'll take insane. I think they'll take insane gladly. This is an incredible group that we've had to start to show up here, and I'm so glad that we get to, you guys are.
Oh, wow. Look at that. Yeah.
Okay.
They love us.
Certainly a lot to cheer for in what you've done for this program, Coach. And, a group that I want to talk about specifically is your offensive line unit.
Yep.
Talking with Zitzer and talking with some of these guys, it sounds like there's a lot of maybe, I don't want to say inexperienced, but young guys that have taken some meaningful snaps at multiple positions across the offensive line. What is your confidence in the depth at those positions, and how have you seen their growth and, more importantly, their confidence grow in 2025?
Yeah, it started last year, and people don't know this, but last year we played 8 different offensive linemen.
Coach. There we go. I don't want to make you talk over that, Coach.
We're good.
There we go.
Yeah, they can do this all day.
Okay.
It's wait till nightfall to see what this thing looks like.
I'm sorry. Just talking about this offensive line
Yeah.
unit, the depth at those spots has been a critical piece for you guys. How have you seen their confidence grow?
Immensely, right? And I think we do some unique things, and we rotate some offensive linemen, right? And so we're playing anywhere from 7 to 8 offensive linemen on any given day. And that helps us because if you're going to win championships, it starts in the trenches.
Yeah.
And with those guys being able to do some things, that's definitely pretty interesting.
Yeah.
This is great.
This is
electric, man.
This is incredible, man. This is
everything that we want.
We are jockeying for position for prime spot behind Coach Munz right now behind the desk. And, I'll leave you with this one in that obviously last week, not the result that you guys wanted.
Right.
What were the glaring takeaways from the loss at River Falls, and how do you feel the guys have handled addressing those and handled overcoming some early adversity? It sounds like this is not the first test that you guys have had. It certainly won't be the last in this conference. How have they handled that adversity throughout the course of this week, and what are the biggest points you think you guys can improve on?
I think they handled it well. Obviously not the expectations or not the result that you want. We talk about this week taking extreme ownership and extreme accountability on what your performance looked like. And really the question we asked our staff and our team is what allowed us not to play free, Yeah. And so we had some deep conversations with some of those things, and you don't know till today.
Yes,
and this is the hard part. We can think we have a great week of practice. We can think we're ready to rock and roll, but we don't know if we're ready to go until we kick that thing off and we play those 4 quarters. And so I'll tell you at 4, but I like our guys. I trust our guys. I will take them into any game, anywhere, against anybody. But we're ready. We've been ready. We're tested for this. It's just another opportunity for us to go play the game that those guys love and we love doing.
Spoken like a true pro and someone that obviously, loves these guys and this team. Coach, I cannot thank you enough for joining us, and thank you so much for having us down here. The head coach of the Pioneers, Ryan Munz, everyone. Thank you so much, Coach. You're all set. Yeah, thank you, and we're looking forward to kickoff, man.
Thanks, guys.
Absolutely. Sweet, and we'll keep the conversation going about the Pioneers. Now, though, we're actually going to turn our attention to someone who left the Pioneers a year ago. Their leading wide receiver from 2024, Brant Stair, is a story that needs to be talked about. He led the Pioneers in receiving yards last year. He threw the game-winning touchdown pass in overtime against these very Eagles. Now, though, he's continued to chase his dreams of playing football professionally. It isn't the only thing he's done with his free time. When a producer from American Idol got into his DMs on social media, he had to take up that opportunity and give it his best shot. Judging from his teammates' reviews, it's no wonder he got a shot on one of the biggest stages in America.
I'm going 44 and 55, we come the wrong turns, but that's alright. I told the guys that I was closest with. One of the indications for me that I'm doing a pretty decent job is that, like, the guys actually like it. They support me, we all support each other, and so it's been really cool for me.
The dude, I don't know if he does a single thing bad. Like, everything he does, it's super talented. I know he's released a few songs in the past, and he's gaining a lot more followers. I think he has a TikTok now, but he's doing a pretty good job of that, so hopefully that can take off for him.
We were on our way to the Aurora football game this year. I played one of his songs for my girlfriend. I'm like, do you know who that is? And she's like, no, I have no idea. I'm like, that was our #1 receiver last year. And she's like, wait, really? I thought that was somebody professional. I direct message on TikTok from one of their producers. Auditioned in front of a few different producers and stuff, and went through a couple different stages. Unfortunately, they cut me. So we know about that in football. Kind of reaffirmed to me that I'm on the right track, regardless of the outcome. I know I have what it takes to do something cool, and whether it's on the show or not, I'm still gonna attack that. Gotten plenty of no's in the football world already. The ultimate goal is playing at the highest level, right? And if you're scared to do it, then do it scared. If you're nervous to do it, then do it nervous. Looking back on it and regretting not doing something is far worse than looking back on it and saying like, oh, I got a couple of negative comments.
An incredible story, an incredible feature on someone who, again, still continuing to pursue that professional football career, but also taking advantage of some doors that have been opened up to him through the use of social media and those God-given pipes, boys. You saw a little bit of the clip in the opener. He is awesome. One of his teammates told me, he said, Kobe, if you like any country artist that is big time right now, you're going to love Brant Stair. But we're moving over, boys, into our next segment. We're previewing. Oh, my goodness. This group is incredible. We're previewing some of the top Division III football games all across the country. And joined at the guest here at the desk, Cade looks a little bit different on the end of the desk. It's Pat Coleman from D3Football.com in the flesh.
That's right. No remoting in today, that's for sure.
You know what? Love it for 2 reasons. 1, because we get to talk face-to-face. 2, because as you know, I don't have to work with the Zoom. Like, this is so much better and so much easier.
Totally understand that. And by the way, it's nice to meet you in person for the first time.
Yes, good to meet you as well.
Yes.
The long handshake there. Yes, sir. Yes. So excited to have you here, and we're pumped to have you be a part of this and an integral piece of it because, as you know, and as I've told you, hopefully plenty times before, you're the standard for this, right? And I can help you with the headphone. The headphone cable is, of course, going to drop right out.
I pulled it out somehow.
Yep, Seth will give you a hand there on that. But, you know, you've been the staple. You've been the standard for covering and promoting Division III football for such a long time. And so to have you be a part of this, you know, in any way possible, I'm, of course, so excited to have you here at the desk. So we're going to talk about some of the best games in all of Division III football. And we won't start here. We're actually going to go over and talk about a matchup that has become a very interesting one and one that has a lot of conference championship implications. John Carroll going on the road to DePaul. this seems to be the game of the year inside of the conference. What can you tell me about this John Carroll squad and what to expect from them today?
Yeah, really. So for John Carroll, right, this is their first year in the North Coast Athletic Conference.
Yes, sir.
They have joined this from what is generally considered to be a much tougher league, the Ohio Athletic Conference, the OAC. The easy part of the NCAC is over for them now. They played Oberlin. They played, Kenyon. The games are all going to be, 60 minutes now, full-length games, right? No,
Yes.
None of these games against Oberlin that are 12-minute quarters. If you know guys for John Carroll, you're going to know Nick Semptenfelter. He's the quarterback. He is the number one in all of NCAA football, all divisions in terms of completion percentage at just short of 82%. The two wide receivers you probably know about, maybe Ty Montgomery, Kenneth Rawls. These are two big guys. And then, they are a team that runs a lot when they're winning, right? Like a lot of teams. And then against Johns Hopkins, the one game they lost this season, they ran for -8. So that's kind of where the pinch point is. There's a lot of teams out there where you are in a conference where it's very top heavy and the bottom's not very good. You look very different statistically against the best teams in your conference. Against the bottom teams in your conference, you're getting a big lead in the first 20 minutes and then running the ball the rest of the day. So sometimes those stats don't always add up. It'll be interesting to see how that run game goes today.
And they've got a tall task. This DePaul defense is just suffocating. Seth, what can you tell me about that for the Tigers?
Yeah, the first thing about DePaul is they got to prove that $80 million donation for that facility, it was worth it, right?
Geothermal powered?
I mean, there's a lot that goes into that, but that was right a week ago, and now we got to prove, hey, we deserve this. And yeah, you talked about the defense, absolutely on fire so far. They have shut out 3 opponents already this season. They've only allowed 28 points all season.
That's ridiculous.
Let's switch over to the offensive side of the ball. Robbie Ballantyne, man, those throwing sessions in the yard with his brother Scott have really paid off. They were probably saying, hey, just run to that light pole and run a little curl here. They're probably doing the exact same thing now. I think for DePaul, you got to show John Carroll that, hey, this ain't this is not an easy road here in the NCAC. They got something to prove here, and I'm really excited for this game. One of the biggest games in the entire country today.
I agree with that one. Another one, when it comes to the national rankings from, again, our friends over at D3Football.com, is you talk about that Johns Hopkins team. People seem to be split on the idea of if today is going to be a challenge or not for the Blue Jays. What's your take?
Yeah, interesting. In the past, Ursinus has been a challenge for them. Ursinus has definitely knocked them off before.
Yeah.
Ursinus comes in at 4-1. That's pretty good, right? Last year, this was a 16-7 game, but they didn't have Bay Harvey, right? Johns Hopkins kind of struggled offensively with their top quarterback weapon out of the picture. One of the things about Ursinus is they have a coach that's been there for 25 seasons, Peter Gallagher. The guy he followed, Paul Gunther. You may have heard of Paul Gunther, right? He's now the defensive coordinator at UNLV. He's had a lot of big head coaching jobs. Peter Gallagher's been there ever since. They have a guy named Jaden Lewis, who's a big up-and-comer in terms of in the run game for them. Jason Bernard is a guy who's gotten a lot of carries for them this season. And also last week, defensively, they had 4 interceptions. They picked off Muhlenberg 3 times, which is more impressive than picking off McDaniel 4 times. I think that is I think that's the key right there is defensively for them, how do you keep those guys in check? And for Johns Hopkins, I mean, someone else is going to talk about Johns Hopkins, right? But they got to not start slow like they've done a couple of key times this year.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for me about this JHU squad is, as a Wasp, is getting scary close to your collar. You're very composed over there, my friend. That is incredible.
'Tis the season.
And he just left you alone. That's mutual respect right there. A changing of the jerseys, so to speak.
It's one of those Randolph-Macon bees that's over here.
That's game, respect, game, something.
Let's talk about this Johns Hopkins team. For me, the biggest piece for me is you're coming off of what has been really an emotional win over this Carnegie Mellon team, a come-from-behind victory that took all they had, and they were tested. They were pushed to the brink. Can you follow that up? Sometimes you see teams take a dip after a win like that. I know that was part of the quick hits this week on D3Football.com. But I talked with Josh Moore last week, the wide receiver from Hopkins, the Centennial Conference, I believe Special Teams Player of the Week. This guy has done it all for this team. He's as dynamic as they come. He talked about being just a small cog in the wheel, so to speak, of this very dynamic attack that is Johns Hopkins, being complemented by incredibly talented downfield threats on the outside, guys like Cole Crotty, Robbie Enright. Those are guys that of course, Ursinus needs to have on their radar today. This is perhaps the most battle-tested Johns Hopkins team that we have seen in recent history, and that's saying a lot because they have gone out of their way to schedule some tough non-conference opponents. But let's flip things over, and I'll be very honest with you here, Pat. This is not a game that I thought we'd be talking about on Small School Saturday.
I agree.
But kudos to both these squads, Ripon and UChicago, taking on each other today. Now, Chicago, big-time favorite. What can you tell me about the other side of the ball?
Yeah, Ripon, in the Midwest Conference, they are kind of living what life is like in the middle of one of those top and bottom heavy conferences, right? You are trying to, float the middle where, similarly, you run the ball really well against, I'm going to name names, sorry, but folks like Grinnell, they will play Lawrence later in the season. They're going to run the ball really well against them. And then against Lake Forest recently, a couple weeks ago, they really struggled, right?
Sure.
And they've had a quarterback change too. Jack Barron's got hurt. He's the guy who's been their QB1, hurt for the second season in a row. Aiden Keys has stepped in at quarterback. He's kind of struggled a little short, throws a lot of short dump-off stuff, not a lot of deep downfield, like he's averaging somewhere around the lines of 4.8 yards per attempt. These are not numbers that are going to get you down the field. You're not going to stretch the field with that. He's thrown 4 picks. Man, Ripon looks really good against the bottom half of the conference and has struggled against the top half. I think we're going to see more of that today.
Can we take a second to appreciate the ball knowledge off the dome here? I mean,
holy
incredible. And also, this feels like a live showing of the Around the Nation podcast, blessing my ears.
Yes.
What a fun way to experience this in kind of a new and different medium. This is awesome.
Well, we should have Greg zoom in from Southern California then.
There we go. Right? That would be awesome. That is, you know what? You say that. I'm going to write that down. That'll be in the notes for later on. But Jimmy, talk about the other side of this thing. What can you tell me about the Maroons?
Yeah, Chicago, the Maroons, undefeated in Midwest Conference play this season, coming in as 22-point favorites, over-under sitting at 44.
Yeah.
Really low over-under for that big of a spread. I thought that was pretty interesting.
It is.
Back-to-back shutouts the last 2 weeks, 52-0 versus Knox and 66-0 versus Lawrence. I have a feeling they'll be tested a little bit more today versus Ripon. Expect Chicago to run the ball really, really well today. I know Ripon doesn't have the best run defense, but Ripon wants to win this ball game today. They're going to have to stop the run in that physical Chicago offensive line.
And we're not necessarily going to California, but let's head out west a little bit and talk about a matchup out there. Whitworth taking on Linfield, and this is one, honestly, that I think it's going to be a very, I'll say, interesting contest. Tell me about this Whitworth squad.
Yeah, it's going to be a good test for both teams, right? You come in with Whitworth. Whitworth is 3-2. They lost to a scholarship program, Eastern Oregon. Not sure ever really what that means. And they lost at home to Redlands, and that's a really bit of a struggle.
Yeah.
But they lost 32 seniors from last year. Gigantic senior class, led them to the NCAA playoffs, all those sorts of things. If there's a name you might recognize from the past, how about Luis Salgado? He's a running back for them. He's 2 touchdowns each of the last 3 games. He had a big year last year, and they really need him to be big this year. It's been just the last couple weeks he's broken out. And then there might be a QB issue at Whitworth as well. Logan Lacio got banged up last week. And then this is a senior coming in, Renat Mamakanyan. His first extended playing time of the season was in the second half last week. Yeah, that's a name.
Hey, kudos to you, man.
I do my best. I'm not going to throw
you do your homework.
I'm not going to throw a pronunciation 101 drop in the middle of your show. I got to get it right.
I love that.
Yeah, and then, you talk about the defense, right? I know we're going to talk about Luke McNabb, the Linfield quarterback, the guys who are going to try to pressure him, try to contain him. You're looking at up front, Lane Watkins, defensive lineman. You're looking at Trey Rose, a safety. These are the guys who need to bring that pressure. Frankly, I do see what the spread is. You're probably going to talk about it here in a second, but I think it's pretty fair.
Fair. I think I would agree with that. Linfield favored by 16.5. The over/under set at 45. All those rankings and different spreads and things courtesy of Logan Hansen. Shout out, know you're watching. By the way, thank you for the DMs. I appreciate it. Saw that he was trying to let me know about the audio issues. I appreciate you watching, my friend. Let's talk about this Linfield side a little bit. They're 3-1 to start the year. Not necessarily quote-unquote statement win yet for this Linfield team. This feels like this is the moment that certainly could be the inflection point for these guys, and it could put their trajectory in the season one of 2 ways. So this is a very big one for them. And on the other side of the ball, in terms of defense, Brady Crenshaw, he's leading that team in tackles. He's got 3 forced fumbles on the year, punching the ball out at a very high rate, 2 interceptions through the first 4 games. That's a centerpiece of really any defense.
I know this is a long time ago, right? That opening game against UW-Oshkosh was forever ago.
Yes.
But just listening to the video broadcast as I'm driving in Pennsylvania, coming back from Susquehanna, right? They were very down on how that team looked after the first week, and now they had a couple of weeks of rest, a couple of weeks to get right against some some lower echelon opponents in their conference. And this is an opportunity for Linfield to definitely make a statement and kind of reset where they are this season.
All of their wins have come in double digits this year, right? You talk about this is going to be, could it be another double-digit win? Absolutely. We're sitting here like that would not surprise me necessarily in the slightest, but they're going to have to do a little bit more to make sure that is the result. Really quickly here, fellas, before we talk about some Ghilardi front runners, we had one game last night. Eli, let's make sure we cut to the wide to get Jimmy's reaction here. There it is. We had one game last night that went on in D3 football. There might have been more, but I know of one for sure in this area, this neck of the woods. UW Stout and Whitewater. This was a battle at half. Yeah, certainly did not fare that way. Jimmy, let's give your opening statement here like a post-game press conference.
First of all, it was a battle through 3 quarters.
Sure. Okay.
Not just a half. Okay. So obviously Stout was down 10-2 in the third quarter, and then Whitewater kind of just ran away with it. I got to tip the cap to Blaine Seidel, though. It's a guy I talked about a lot on the show. 16 tackles yesterday for the Blue Devils. There was a bright spot. I mean, this kid is unbelievable. He's the best linebacker in the WIAC. So.
Yeah. Unbelievable. Yeah. That was the showing again in the second part of that third quarter into the fourth. That Whitewater offense seemingly came alive. I mean, that's very encouraging for Whitewater fans, for Warhawk fans, correct?
Yeah, I think it's been tough, right? Klinkner's struggled in big games in 2 consecutive halves, right? The second half against La Crosse, the first half last night. And then, it wasn't, world-beating his second half last night, but, man, you just got to get a little confidence, right? There's a guy who was, I think, 3 for 10 passing at one point. I don't think the math ends up what I'm trying to project out, but 8 for something nice in the second half. That's the math for you. Whether it's him or just running the ball. Obviously, they got a lot of guys who can run the ball, which is super helpful. And just making those basic special teams plays is super important. They've learned.
You mean like catching the long snap?
Catching the long snap. Yeah. Who knew? Or if you don't catch the long snap, bat it out the back of the end zone and only give up 2 points instead of 7.
Right. That is a great point. And now we're going to shift gears, fellas. Let's talk about some of the front runners for the highest individual honor in all of Division III football. I, of course, am talking about the Ghilardi Award, the Ghilardi Trophy, not Gagliardi, as we have all finally corrected ourselves on this program. But these are some of the guys that certainly feel like they're at the forefront of the conversation right now. The quarterback from River Falls, Caleb Blaha, the quarterback from Mount Union, Mikey Maloney, who we saw on ESPN the other day for the block that he threw, which was incredible. Right?
Out there,
How about Garrett Wilson over at another big power in North Central under center? And then Tyler Slakowski at Utica, certainly been a name to watch. But then at the wide receiver spot, had to throw a mix in here. Chris Downs from St. Vincent. He has had a tremendous year, almost 1,000 yards on 50 catches and 14 touchdowns.
In 6 weeks?
I mean,
it's awesome.
Unreal. Fellas, who stands out on this list in terms of, if you had to pick one right away, I know I'm kind of putting you on the spot here. If you got to pick one on the way, on the spot, Jimmy, so to speak, who's your guy?
Caleb Blaha. Wow. Bias aside,
these guys are all going to say Blaha, right?
Yeah, I mean, you got to look at it. Blaha plays against the toughest competition. I know Garrett Wilson plays in the CCIW, but I mean, Blaha's doing it against the best teams in the country. He's been doing it for years now. I mean, you got to tip the cap to that kid. He's a hell of a player.
He certainly has done an incredible job, and I think, as North Central and Mount Union further progress, if this was an award that necessarily came out after the postseason, this could be a very different conversation, Pat?
Yeah, I think it could be. The voting takes place like after the second round of the playoffs, which at this point is most teams have had one game, right?
Sure.
I don't know that that's a ton of things for differentiator. I just want to talk about your finalist list for a second.
Yes, sir.
Mikey Maloney's a freshman, right? So he's not going to be a serious candidate for a lot of people. But I should say in 2025, in 2026, I think a sophomore definitely can get some traction there. And certainly he has had an amazing season. I'm really impressed with the kid. He's going to be, if he stays in Division III, he's going to be a great quarterback.
That's a good point. Not to cut you off, it's a very good point.
Especially in the world we live in now.
Yes, the underclassmen that we talked, with Coach McElroy at Bethel talking about his freshman running back. He's like, man, I don't want to talk about this guy too much because someone's going to come in and take him. So,
I mean, certainly Bethel knows that well about the state of Wisconsin, do they not? Right? When their top defensive player goes and plays for the Badgers.
And has been playing very well. Matt Young, of course, for that Wisconsin squad.
He's done all right. I would put Nick Septum-Helter, the quarterback at John Carroll, on this list.
Sure.
I would put Cooper Drews at Bethel on this list. Chris Downs certainly had a great season. I look forward to see what he does against some of the other teams in the conference. That the Pack is also one of those very, very good at the top, not very good at the bottom. So we'll see how he does as that progresses as well.
Absolutely. Wrapping up this piece, we'll get to the film room here with Coach Howard first. But Pat, thank you. I know I said it before. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate what you do for D3 football, and we appreciate you
my friend.
being a great part of this show. Your expertise is evident every time that you hop in front of a microphone, whether it's ATN or whether it's Small School Saturday. Can't say how much we appreciate you. Excited to connect after the show and talk a little bit more ball.
That sounds good. Hey, I prep well too. I do my homework.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We love it. Pat Coleman from D3Football.com. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Now, though, it is time for a new segment here on Small School Saturday. Our good friend Seth Howard had the opportunity to coach at some small college football. Now we're going to take a look into both defenses of today's contest. Of course, I'm referring to the film room with Coach Howard.
Yeah, so I'm an offensive guy, so I really want to look at these defenses here. So we're going back to Platteville's game last week against River Falls. First things first here, you're going to see River Falls send a guy in motion here. Hey, and number 6, he's running with him, so that indicates, hey, we're going to get some sort of man coverage here. We confirm that post-snap. We got 3 for 3 underneath with no safety help over top. So River Falls is going to run a little switch vertical concept here, which gives our guy a chance, and he absolutely takes advantage of it, and he's off to the races. So if I'm La Crosse looking at this, I'm saying, man, if they're going to play this aggressive man coverage, we got to give our guys one-on-one opportunities down the field, and I think they'll absolutely do that. Now, let's switch to the front. So defensively, Platteville runs what's called a crush front, fellas, which means that these 4 defensive linemen are going to muddy up those A gap and B gap, A and B gaps here, which means that it's going to be tough to run the ball inside, which means that all of these run plays, man, they're going to bounce outside. Hey, but the thing that we have accounted for are these forced defenders right here. Okay, and they're going to try to force everything back inside, so that Mike is going to end up making all the tackles. So you're going to see River Falls try to run the ball inside and get absolutely stuffed. So looking at this from the La Crosse point of view, we got to get our guys on the perimeter, both in the pass game and in the run game, get a blocker on some of those forced defenders, and try to get those runs out on the perimeter, okay?
Dude,
so now we're looking over here after this. We're going to look at La Crosse's defense, okay, on a 3rd and long situation. So you're going to see right here, it is 3rd and 14. And the thing about La Crosse is they love bringing zone pressures on 3rd and long, okay? So you're going to see right here, La Crosse is going to bring a 6-man pressure, okay? But the nice thing about Eau Claire is they did a really good job scheming this up. They have a 7-man pro for a 6-man pressure, which, look at that pocket. It's absolutely glorious, which gives us plenty of time to get the ball to a playmaker here, running a little curl route in the flat here. Absolutely fantastic here by Eau Claire. So, Platteville, man, if they're going to bring these zone pressures, we got to have a good plan for it, all right? We do not want our guy to get hit up and down the field today, okay? So, looking at a similar situation against Stout last year, okay? Again, what did we say? 3rd and long. We love bringing those zone pressures, and you're going to see La Crosse has a couple guys walked up, a 5-on-5 situation here.
Mug look, right?
Right, double mug look here. But they bail out, trying to confuse the quarterback, and they're actually going to play what's called a drop 8 coverage right here, have 8 in coverage. Quarterback's got plenty of time to throw. However, you got 8 guys in coverage. There's nothing you're going to be able to do about that. So, La Crosse, or Platteville, we got to have a great plan for these zone pressures. But the best thing you can do on 3rd and long, don't get in 3rd and long, okay? But if you do, let's make sure that we're protecting our guy, Kyle Haas, and we'll have a great day otherwise.
Hello, how about Coach Howard?
Appreciate you,
After
boys.
I saw that first clip, I thought it was going to be a River Falls highlight tape for a second.
Well, it was their last game, so you might as well throw some
I
stuff
feel like
in
I
there.
genuinely, I legitimately just learned some things. Like
Good.
that was
Good.
incredible. I needed my notebook out
Coach Howard.
for that, of course.
Coach
But
Howard,
we're gonna flip over, fellas, to the Division II slate. Talk about the best games across the country in D2 football, and I think we're starting things off with the right game, fellas. The Gulf South competition: West Florida, West Alabama, 2 teams in the Gulf South that have been electric in 2025. The Argos and the Tigers. Certainly some competitive games as of late between these 2 squads.
Yeah, West Florida, man, this is one of the best games in the entire country so far. I think it's one of, if not the best game
Yes, sir.
out there right now. And You know, the thing about this West Florida team, you know, they're the number 3 team in the country. You know, they're really balanced offensively and defensively. They rank in the top 15 in both offense and defense when it comes to total yardage. You know, they've actually lost the last 2 to West Alabama. Most recently last year when it went into double overtime, if you remember, they lost 35-30 in that game. You know, they love to spread the wealth on offense as well. There's not one guy that really takes over per se. They are going to get the ball to a bunch of different playmakers, whether that's their running backs in the run game, in the pass game with multiple different receivers, or, hey, man, lean on that offensive line and let him go. But defensively, again, absolutely dominant, and we'll see what they do against West Alabama today.
And you just got a really good look at what they're going up against in the Tigers defense. And let me tell you something right here. Coach Cochran came into 2025 with a lot of very strong words, a lot of confidence, and some might confuse that with cockiness. Let me tell you something else. He's backed it all up. This Tigers team has been very fun to follow so far this season. The win over Charleston feels like a statement W for the Tigers as they move through this 2025 slate. How will they open up conference play? The Gulf South is at a very interesting turning point. You look at the teams that comprise the conference right now, Delta State, Valdosta, of course the 2 on the screen right now. The future is uncertain for this conference. The certainty is that...
We got our mascot up in here.
Pioneer Pete showing up.
Pioneer Pete.
The future of this conference certainly is up in the air, but we know about these teams is that they are still ready to play on the national stage. If you want to look at a common opponent, Seth, between these 2 squads, North Greenville is one. West Alabama, they are up to put up 52 points on that squad. I don't see Spencer Arsenault and company being outpaced easily in this matchup.
No.
But we will flip over now to the next contest. Let's go down to the Great American Contest and talk about the Bisons from Harding taking on Henderson State. And this Harding team, boys, is one that I am always thrilled to talk about because there's not too much to say here besides the fact this team loves not being talked about. I think they love flying under the radar, and then, of course, they come up for these marquee games in the GAC once or twice a year. The defense, that's where it starts for me. They've allowed 33 points through 6 games. They are dominating the line of scrimmage. That feels like the Harding thing to do in all of these matchups. Braden Jay, Andrew Miller, they're both climbing the national ranks among the best rushers in the country. That continues to open up opportunities for everyone else, right? The other guys, whether it's a certain part of the flex bone or not, every part of this offense has certainly seen the light. Cole Keelan, though, he's thrown 19 passes this year. That seems to track. We'll see if that starts to ramp up if these games or if they're really going to grind the time of possession battle when it comes to teams like Henderson State and others inside of the GAC that might challenge them at the point of attack here, Cade.
Yeah, and this is a Henderson State team where, I mean, playing a giant like Harding, you cannot lose a game before it even starts, right? The mindset from the first snap to the last has to stay resilient against a giant like this team. They are 5-1, so they're not new to the feeling of winning big games. They're led by a quarterback, Andrew Edwards. He's had a great year up to this point. He's accounted for 17 total touchdowns and only 4 interceptions. He's going to have to take care of that rock today to limit that Harding offense. And the best Henderson State defense today will be their offense. You need long, methodical drives to keep the Harding offense on the sideline, limit their opportunities to put the ball in the end zone.
Amen, brother. Amen. Let's flip over, guys, and now go down to, we got a lot of different conferences today to talk about, which I love the fact that we're splitting up all over the country. We're down in the Lone Star State. Texas A&M Kingsville actually traveling to Central Washington. Make it make sense how they're in the Lone Star Conference. That's a conversation for a different day. But Kingsville, the Javelinas, taking on Central Washington, Seth.
Yeah, this is a Julian Payne-led defense so far. He leads the Javelinas with 16 solos, 11 assists, 4 TFLs, and 1 interception. He's absolutely balling so far this year. You know, 2 very quality losses to UTBB and Northwest Missouri State, but don't count the Javelinas out. You know, they are a 23.5-point dog. But if that defense can hold Central Washington down, which that Central Washington offense, we'll talk here in a bit, Jimmy, but absolutely amazing so far this year. But, hey, don't count the Javelinas out.
Absolutely.
So I have a question. What is a javelina?
It's like a little feral hog. They got them all over down there. They actually have. We had the defensive coordinator down there. It was on the show, and they've got a stuffed one in a trophy case in their facility.
It's a hog?
It's like a little pig. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Huh.
Yeah, it's like a little warthog kind of deal.
Interesting.
Awesome.
Cool.
And the fact that they have one that's stuffed in a trophy case, even better.
Similar to the pork roll.
Yeah, I was about to say. Yeah.
Oh, no, we're not going back.
Back-to-back weeks.
Similar to the...
This is not the breakfast bowl. Tell me about the Wildcats, Jim.
So let me tell you something. The number 17 in the country runs the ball.
Okay, easy on the desk there. Thank you.
Thanks, Kobe. Kennedy McGill, 455 yards. Justice Taylor, 450 yards. Bo Phillips, 290 yards. This is a 3-headed monster in the backfield of Central Washington. That's got to wear down a defense quite a bit. There's always a fresh set of legs in the backfield. I'm expecting them to run for 200-plus yards in this one. I mean, 23.5-point spread. This game might get out of hand early with that run game.
Okay, I don't mind that. I don't mind that pick because this Central Washington offense has certainly been one to watch, and they have been as explosive as ever. Right, we've seen them take some runs in the playoffs as well and represent that conference. But let's flip over and talk another matchup in terms of Division II football, fellas. Again, another one that maybe you didn't expect to see on our slate today. Frostburg State taking on Charleston. Some MEC action, boys. Charleston, this is a team that rebounded from a 1-2 start, a team that really has dominated the MEC in very, very recent history. Can they continue that stretch? They need to start putting teams away, though. They've struggled to overcome slow starts 2 of the last 3 games and get on the board early and often if you're the Golden Eagles. They have spread the wealth in the backfield, though, which I think is going to be crucial in today's matchup. 5 different players with rushing touchdowns. Who can be the guy, quote unquote, in the backfield for this Charleston attack? Quarterback Ian Hamrick, he leads the team in carries right now. Not sure if that's sustainable when no other quarterback has attempted a pass on the season. You're always one play away from potentially your best player being sidelined. All that to say, I still think Charleston has a really good chance today.
Yeah, I'm with you, Kobe. And at the same time, like this Frostburg State team, they lead the MEC in fewest points allowed with 16.8, and they're only giving up 275 yards a game as well. So they got a pretty solid defense. The offense has been solid, but it hasn't really been tested quite a lot recently. They got to be sharp today, especially as 10.5-point underdogs on the road. You're going to have some explosive plays, and you're going to have to execute a lot on 3rd down, and you can't turn the ball over today. It's simple as that. When you're an underdog on the road, you got to take care of the football.
You certainly can't. Let's go over and check in on our MIAA friends. Fort Hays State taking on Northwest Missouri State, a Bearcat team that has been red hot that we'll talk about in just a second. But, Cade, what can you tell me about this Fort Hays side?
Yeah, this Fort Hays State team, they played a gauntlet of a schedule up to this point. They've played 3 ranked teams in the first 7 games, and they're 4-3 coming out of it. So, I mean, if you want to find some proof in the pudding there, I mean, it's a pretty good start for a team, that might not have had a whole lot of expectations coming into the year. They are coming off a tough loss to a good Central Oklahoma squad, 21-14. You can't let that linger. You got to come out and set the tone from the jump. Their defensive unit has to do their thing. John Johnson, Michael Chavez, and Jackson Kozlow will look to lead that charge. And their offense had struggles turning the ball over. They have 9 fumbles and 5 picks. Their quarterback, Caleb Heavner, I'm sorry if I'm butchering that, he will need to make plays with his arm and legs while controlling the tempo of the game.
Like that a lot, man. And this is one that, you talk about this Northwest Missouri State side. It feels like it's very safe to say that Coach McMenamin has certainly ignited something inside of this locker room. You look back to week 0, they were coming off of a loss to Minnesota State that, I'll be honest, guys, was almost downright embarrassing for a program, the statute and the stature of this Bearcat side. They have gone and flipped the script in 2025. It's been very impressive. 5-1 to start the year, 2 big wins coming over Central Oklahoma, of course, Central Missouri, respectively, those 2 squads in the MIAA. Luke Matthews leading the air, charge through the air, 4 touchdowns already this season. Certainly a guy to watch in today's matchup. And then a 3-headed monster in the backfield. Zachariah Owens, Quincy Torrey, Dominic Owens, those guys going to get done offensively for the Bearcats. And we could be looking at a matchup now. No, I know we look ahead a little bit too much on this show. These guys play Pittsburgh State in Kansas City in a big-time venue in the last week of the year. This game, although after week 0, week 1, you could have fooled me, this is going to have some real MIAA playoff and conference title implications between the Bearcats and the Gorillas if they don't get upset today in Seth's bold take in the jungle down there.
Never know. I like it.
Let's flip over, Seth. I want you to tell me about a Wingate team that is actually a dog on the road today at Emory and Henry.
Yeah, it's essentially, a half-point dog for sure. And, let's talk about this Wingate team. They're 4-2 on the year. They had a really quality win over UNC Pembroke to start the year, but they haven't had a signature win since. Let's talk about Xavier Pugh, the running back for Wingate here. He leads the squad with 600 yards and already has 12 rushing touchdowns on the year so far. And quarterback Elijah Holmes already thrown for 1,400 yards, 13 TDs, and what I really like, only 1 interception on the year so far. They'll have to continue to produce those numbers. He'll have to continue to produce those numbers for the rest of the year if they're going to keep having success and mix it up a little bit offensively. And defensively, right, you got Bert Manhu, I believe is how you pronounce the name, who already has 10.5 TFLs on the year, and what I really like, those 3.5 sacks on the year.
And let's flip it over and talk about this Emory and Henry side. Jordan Jackson, of course, a big piece of that you need to know about. But tonight's game, tonight's atmosphere for the Wasps, it's homecoming. It's a blew out. The environment, the energy there is going to be palpable, of course. And this is one that I'm really excited to talk about this team in 2025 because they are, unlike maybe Wingate recently coming off no statement wins, they've got wins over Carson Newman, Mars Hill. Those are games that have really impressed and stood out to me. It's proven that this team is not going to be beaten at the line of scrimmage. They're not going to be out physical by maybe what we consider to be some very tough opponents at that point of attack. They can change their game. They can adjust to what the opponent does well. Whether when you're playing Carson Newman as the Wasp gets me between the eyes, you can, adapt and, maybe turn to some slow, methodical drives that take you down the course of the field and eat up the time of possession. Or you're playing a team like Mars Hill in a game that had a lot of different swings throughout the course of it. You got to go and score 24 unanswered points against that Mars Hill squad. And again, that offense can be explosive. It can be slow and methodical. I think there's a lot of multi-dimensional abilities there, fellas. Let's flip the script, though, and talk here, not about the Gallardi fellas, but let's flip it and talk about D2 football and a team in Benedict, boys, that is unbeaten and unranked. Benedict College is 6-0, unranked, and actually number 24 in the AFCA poll, but unranked in our friends over at D2Football.com in the national poll. They've got a top scoring defense in the SIAC, top 10 nationally in the country at 13 points per game. Of course, a couple statement wins on their resume over Fayetteville State, Fort Valley State, Clark Atlanta. Feel like some pretty marquee wins already in 2025. Now, today is the interesting one, boys. They're playing 4-2 Edward Waters today, and Edward Waters is one that I'm very curious to see how this matchup pans out. Edward Waters, not a team I'd expected to be talking about, I guess, at this point in 2025. They've already beaten Miles. They've already beaten Virginia Union. Some of these teams in the CIAA and SIAC, respectively, that we've come to associate with top-level success in those conferences. They lost a week ago. They still have goals to reach their first ever SIAC championship, so a lot on the line for EWU. Benedict, though, their defense, they've got 20 sacks this year already, and that is one that I think they need to continue doing very well if they want to continue success in 2025. But now, we've got a very exciting guest joining us here at the desk for Small School Saturday. It is the UW-Platteville Chancellor, Dr. Tammy Avetovich. Very nice to meet you. Thank you so much for joining us. And, of course, Pioneer Pete is right behind her here. Come on up to the stage, fella. We'll get you right there. We'll get those headphones on you.
Sounds good.
Holy cow. Pete, you are the man. Look at you. Staying cool today? Yeah, staying cool today. I love it. I love it. And, this is a special one. I know when we were setting this up, they had said, this is someone you need to have on the show. What she's in, you heard it right here. They told me what she's injected into these athletic programs and the confidence that she gives these student athletes and the support from a whole department standpoint, right, is something that's very admirable. We're very appreciative to have you on. These, you can see you're going to kind of almost kiss the microphone right into that thing.
I got it.
There you are.
Here we go.
She's a pro. She's a pro.
Yeah, exactly. I have gifts for you guys if you
You
want.
do. So
Look
thoughtful.
at this.
So what we did is we made you some custom-made coasters
You're
in our
kidding.
Health
Oh my
Family
God.
Innovation Center right over here. So
I thought they were
expected
cookies.
you to be
I thought they were
bringing
cookies at
things.
first.
So,
Jimmy, don't bite
they're
these.
not cookies. Those are coasters.
Eli, cut to the close-up, brother.
Look at that.
Oh, wow.
Right.
This is
Look
amazing.
at that.
We
Oh, my
made that
goodness.
just
Thank
for
you
you
so
guys.
much.
That's amazing.
We have a 20,000 square foot makerspace over here where you can make just about anything you want. And so we custom made those for
This
you
is
guys.
incredible.
So get
That
your
is-
drinks out here and
Yes.
Yes, we will.
Thank you so much.
Thank
That
you
is
so much. That is awesome.
That is so kind and so unique. What a cool deal.
That is very cool.
Right.
Yeah.
It's what we're known for. We're innovators at UW-Platteville.
I love that, and I love the outfit from you today is incredible.
You have to show the pioneer spirit. Orange is my thing. If you really want to see something cool, you got to look at my shoes, though.
Yes, we
All right,
sure.
all right.
You prop one up almost. Yeah, there you go.
She brought the heat.
That is awesome.
I love that.
Okay, right? Orange is my thing.
I love it, and I wanted to talk with you about your past in strength and conditioning, right? Certainly one
Hey,
that
did
feels
you research?
a little bit.
Right.
Just
Okay,
I try and
all
do
right.
my best, but
All
that
right.
certainly feels applicable on a day like today, talking about the athletics programs. How has your experience in that field impacted your involvement with not just football, but all the athletic teams here on campus at Platteville?
So my PhD is in exercise physiology, so I spent a lot of my time when I was a faculty doing research on athletes, whether it was a wrestler or a basketball player, a football player. I did a lot of research on them. So I've spent my entire career with athletes, and I know how much it takes to keep your performance up, to prevent injury, and strength and conditioning is a huge part of that. So I can relate, and I have so much respect for what these athletes do on a daily basis. It's so impressive to me. But you just got to show up for them every single day and support them. That's what we do here at UW-Platteville.
And this is kind of a loaded one, but I think it's an important question in terms of when you talk about a game day atmosphere and environment, one that hopefully we are adding to, how do you, from that role in that position, help to elevate not only the experience of the student athletes, but also encourage the current student body and those alumni to come back and appreciate and take part in what is a really incredible experience here at Platteville?
What I really love about D3 athletics is the purity of it. These student athletes play for the love of the game.
Yeah,
you know, they're here, they're working hard every single day. And so if there's nothing else that I can do, I can show up for their games every single time. I was at a volleyball game, I was at a soccer game last night, I'm here for football. I try to show up as much as I can to tell our alumni and our students that this is important for this university. And so I think, you know, just showing up in orange all the time and showing that pioneer spirit is how I instill it within our student body, within the alumni. Our community is so great at supporting UW-Platteville athletics. I
From earrings to sneakers, right?
Yes. All the
And you
way.
give them a shout out. Look
All
at
the
this
way.
setup. We got the pickaxes right behind you. This group here, this tailgate has been so fun to be around already. How has this side of the game and the atmosphere grown and evolved over the course of your tenure?
Well, you know, the thing that you have to do is you get out and you have to talk about it. So we talk about it all the time, what's happening in UW-Platteville athletics, and that's why people show up. You know, they want to support our teams, and they have so much respect for what these student athletes do on a daily basis. So come out, come and see us. Every single game, we are here. We are fighting hard for our UW-Platteville football team and every athletic team on this campus.
Awesome.
I'll say this:
thank you.
when I go around when I was coaching and playing, I go to all these different D3 schools. You know, you look around, you see the facilities, and when you see a place like this that has the facilities that you do, you know that there's buy-in from the top down, and you can absolutely tell that here.
Absolutely. When we get a student athlete that we're recruiting to campus and we show them our facilities, it's a done deal. They love what we have here. We have the most premier facilities, and it's an investment, and it's something that's important to this university. It's important to us all. It's about enrollment. It's about the community. It's about economic development. There's so much more to D3 athletics than people understand. So it's a big part of this community.
Dr. Tammy Avetovich, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolute pleasure to meet you. We will be around for the game. We cannot wait to see this environment and atmosphere.
I just want to say thanks for coming. We love it.
Thank you so much.
Such a pleasure. Yeah.
The Chancellor of UW-Platteville, everyone.
Thank you so much.
What a neat and incredible deal.
So awesome.
We got custom coasters.
Yeah, that's unbelievable, man.
What a fun
crazy.
deal.
It's so cool.
I love it, boys. Well, we're going to flip over here. We've got some more really fun segments as Cade makes the march across the desk. And we're going to go to our line breakers for today really quickly before we head over to Matt Schwarzler, who's waiting patiently over in the Zoom room. We're going to our line breakers. We're talking about some of the craziest spreads or different over-under pieces from across the country. And Seth, my friend, I think you're leading us off. As he gets we'll give him a second as he gets the microphone and everything hooked back up. There he is.
Yeah, the line breakers. You know, the team that I'm deciding to choose is a team that I'm very familiar with. I actually coached this team a year ago. I am picking Simpson College, one of my two alma maters, to cover the 33.5. I think it's going to be more like 60 that they win by. So, give me the Storm to roll the Norse, who is going to the Midwest Conference next year. Shout out.
That is a big-time plug and a big-time pick with that kind of spread. Jimmy, why don't you keep things going?
So I was going through the Hanson ratings this week. And I thought to myself, who is definitely 1,000% going to cover, and that was River Falls. As much as it pains me to say, they're going to win this game by 50 points.
This spread is not even close.
I think we're going to see a lot of Cade Fitzgerald in the second half. A lot of those guys get in there.
Sure.
You know, River Falls has a lot of good quarterbacks, and we might see 3 or 4 of them today.
There you go. I think I like that pick as well. I'm going to go to the Division II realm. To me, this is I think the graphic got a little bit messed up there in terms of the verbiage, but I'm actually taking Sul-Ross State and Western New Mexico, and I'll tell you the spread right here. I want them to hit the over. I think that's going to happen. 74.5 is the over-under for that matchup today. And this Western New Mexico team, they're 1-5. But let me tell you something about this squad. It's that even though they are averaging 33 points per game. I don't know the last time I've seen that. Their defense has been has left a lot to be desired, let's say, in the first portion of 2025. But the guy under center, Connor Ackerley, he can sling the rock. A risk taker, but he's thrown for 23 touchdowns, 2,200 yards so far in 2025. It's going to be a boat race. Sul Ross is 0-6. They're allowing 62 points per game so far in 2025, even though there's 2 Division I opponents on the start of that schedule. But we'll close things off here with Cade's pick as he goes back, I believe, to the WIAC.
Yes. I feel like there's not a whole lot for me to say here. If you know me, you know where this pick is stemming from. Go Bulldogs. Fair State minus 57.5 over Michigan Tech Huskies.
Wow.
Nah,
Wow,
on the road, though. They're in Houghton. They're in Houghton.
I generally think, like, Tech has had a good year. Like, they deserve their flowers. But, I mean, Ferris is a different beast, and I know Tech's head's a little big up there, so they'll probably go in there and lay the boom on those Huskies up there in Houghton.
Wow. Cade's out here cutting a promo on the show.
JT's got to be shaking his head at you. And,
he probably is.
Shout out Coach JT, by the way.
Shout out JT Jurison and the boys up there at Tech that we've got some great relationships with. But we're flipping over now. We're going to cut and talk to some of the NAIA game previews from across the country. Yeah. And I dare to say, too, Seth, that these are, in terms of the different levels of football, these are the best games in the country today. And joining us here, it might take a second to get it going. You've seen him on the podcast a lot. He's joined us virtually once before. And here he is once again. It's Matt Schwarzler. What's up, buddy?
What's up, fellas? I need to ask if there's an extra coaster lying around because those are kind of sweet. I can't lie to you.
That is incredible. Let me see what we can make happen over here for you, Matt, my friend. But we're going to start things off with what might be potentially the game of the week in terms of the NAI. Honestly, you could say that about every single one on this slate, I think pretty confidently. Lindsey Wilson, number 7, going on the road to number 9, Campbellsville. LWU, they're favored by more than a touchdown. Matt, what do you think of that?
Yeah, I think while a bit surprising considering Campbellsville is hosting, the way Lindsey Wilson's played this year, it makes sense. They're top 10 in scoring offense, points per game, third down and fourth down conversion percentages, which are always big for teams like this. Tate Rice and Devontae Saunders are the 2 main guys for this team that Campbellsville's going to have to worry about slowing down. Saunders is 8.2 yards per carry and 11 touchdowns on the year through the ground, which is absolutely incredible. Their defense matches. They've only allowed 90 points in 6 games this season. Best for 16th in the NAIA. And my biggest question on the flip side for Campbellsville in this matchup is, are they going to be able to slow down a highly efficient offense such as Lindsey Wilson?
I hear you there, and I think Jimmy will have maybe a little bit of insight on that Campbellsville side.
Yeah, you're taking host as a 7.5-point underdog. I mean, there's not very many times when you have teams this closely ranked when there's that big of a spread, especially if you're a home team. Campbellsville gets after the quarterback, obviously. Top 5 in sacks and forced fumbles in the NAIA, arguably the best front 7 in the country. Also, a really, really efficient red zone offense. You got to capitalize when you get down in the scoring position. So you got to give credit to that offense too. But that well-balanced offense is going to be challenged in a big way today as Lindsey Wilson only allows 33 rushing yards per game.
This is certainly a very good stat.
So
Jimmy,
if they want to run the football and they want to beat a team at 700 underdogs, they got to challenge that really strong.
Let's flip things over. St. Francis, Indiana at number 11, Marion. Seth, what can you tell me about this St. Francis side?
Yeah, it's absolutely already a loaded slate, but this is probably one of the biggest games here in NAIA. St. Francis, the boys from Indiana, they're another one of those teams with just a single quality loss on their record so far this year. That one loss being to Campbellsville by 3 points. They've been outscoring opponents 36-22 so far. I think, as 9.5-point dogs, I like them to cover in this potentially, but we'll see here. I like what St. Francis has been doing all year.
Talk to me about the other side, Matt. This Marion team has been one that has really impressed me inside of 2025. Obviously, the season opening loss to a quality Division II opponent, they've rebounded in a big way.
Yeah, absolutely. And not to mention, too, going back to St. Francis, both of these teams are on 5-game winning streaks. And the winner of this contest, the way the conference matchup is scheduled, this is actually the first MSFA Midwest contest of the season for either team. They do a crossover. So the winner of this game is going to get the initial jump there, which I think will be super interesting. But you talk about Marion, and you can't do it without talking about running back Keegan LaBelle, former All-American, former first-team All-Conference guy. He's peaking at the right time in his last appearance with 236 on the ground for 2 touchdowns and 8.1 yards per carry. And on the other side of things, in the quarterback room, Tristan Polk has also been a threat. 17 total touchdowns and just 1 interception. And the defense has held serve, for this Marion team. But this test against the St. Francis offense, led by Joshua Kolka, who's been having a phenomenal season, really curious to see how that matchup plays out for him. Marion defense is going to have to show out.
That they certainly will, in a matchup we're excited to look at. But guys, I would be lying to you if I said I was more excited about any other matchup today, specifically in the NAIA slate, than when it came down to the KCAC. McPherson, which is actually a PH instead of an F. I caught that immediately. I'm so sorry, Bulldogs. McPherson taking on Friends today in a big-time matchup in the KCAC. This is one I am very excited about. Matt, why don't you start us off talking about the Dogs?
Yeah, this one is the matchup I'm most looking forward to today. And I think it's important to note for McPherson, this 6-0 start they have, it's their best start since 2010 when they went 10-1 and made the NAIA playoffs. Big reason for why they're having such success is Jalil Brown on the offense. Their running back, he leads the team in rushing and receiving, over 1,000 combined yards, 11 combined touchdowns. They're extremely impressive, but so is their defense, who is top 10 in multiple categories in the NAIA this year. They're going to have their work cut out for them, especially against this Friends team that we've seen just steamroll people all year long. Really curious to see how the defense holds up, but this one should be a really fun matchup.
I certainly concur and agree with that one, my friend. And I'm going to talk about these Friends Falcons. I feel like this is a team that we've talked ad nauseum about, but it's for very good reason. And while you see some of the highlights here recently from McPherson, they have been dominant inside of 2025. Maybe haven't gotten the respect that they would have hoped for from the national poll or committee, so to speak. They've got their tall task cut out for them this week. The Falcons from Friends, they're 6-0. They haven't had a competitive game to this point. Let's be very honest with ourselves, boys. They allow 155 yards per game on defense. That's total. That's not rushing or passing, but combined. They have been absolutely suffocating both in the line of scrimmage and also in the defensive backfield. They've done a very good job of playing complementary football on that side of the ball, and this is a team that does the exact same thing on offense. The option attack has been so potent from the Falcons. Cavante Baker is one that I know, Matt, you and I have talked about a lot on this show. His journey back to football after stepping away for a while. He has been the lightning in a bottle, the catalyst for this offense that continues to make them go down in the KCAC. They've rushed for over 400 yards in every game this year. They've thrown for over 100 and only one, and I'd be surprised if that is also the case today against McPherson. I think this Friends team is certainly going to look to ground and pound. But let's go out west and continue our NAIA slate, fellas, as we talk about another big-time matchup, this time out in the Frontier Conference. Let's go over and talk about Montana Western, the Bulldogs, going and taking on the College of Idaho and the Yotes. Matt, the Bulldogs, we talked about a bit in the Frontier this year. Maybe a disappointing first half of the season for UMW. What can you say about this squad?
Yeah, for sure. This is still a very good football team, but they are certainly going to have to be able to regroup against a stout College of Idaho squad after losing to Carroll last week. The big note there was in their loss to Carroll. Michael Palandri, who we've seen absolutely light up scoreboards and stat sheets this year, was forced to throw 3 interceptions along with his 3 touchdowns, ultimately getting Carroll over the hump there. Palandri is still, 2 in the NAIA in pass yards per game, 3 in the NAIA with passing touchdowns. This is a top 3 offense. But Carroll last week showed that this is a mortal team, you could say. That first loss against Montana Tech was very impressive, but the way that Carroll came out and was able to get it done, Montana Western has to be ready to go this week. Because College of Idaho is certainly not a pushover. This is a team that's crawled up the rankings this year, and I think they're ready for a big proving ground against Montana Western, so it's going to be curious to see how they go about that.
The Yotes are certainly going to be ready to play. Cade, what can you tell me about that squad?
Yeah, not a pushover at all, Matt. They're 4-1 this year. They have not played a ranked opponent until now. They have not lost at home yet either.
Like that.
I absolutely love this guy's name. I think it's like it comes off the tongue so smooth. Number 40, Willie White. I mean, that is such a football name. And this guy's a freaking dog. He has 6.5 TFLs and an interception this year to go along with 21 tackles. Look for him to kind of lead the way on the defensive side of the ball. And they're led by a 6'3", 215 quarterback. His name's Caden Young. He's accounted for 13 touchdowns this year, and he's going to need to continue to make plays today against a good Montana Western defense.
100%, boys. And filling out this NAIA slate, we've got another big-time game to talk about, and I think This one, I'm not going to lie to you, this might also be the game of the week. St. Thomas going and taking on Kaiser in a battle of two of the Floridians, so to speak, down there in the Sun Conference. This is a big one, and I think that's the easiest way to talk about it. Matt, what can you dive more into about this St. Thomas squad? A year removed from Rontavious Farmer in that backfield, they seem to be getting along pretty well.
Yeah, they're certainly getting along really well, even compared to last season. Obviously, they lost to Lindsey Wilson earlier this season before we really knew how good the Blue Raiders were. They've completely rebounded. This offense, actually, notably compared to last year, that was very ground and pound. Keely Watson's actually done a very good job of spreading the ball around in the pass game. He has 15 passing touchdowns and 2 interceptions on this season, which is a really good split. But this defense for St. Thomas is really, really, really good. They're top 10 in defense points allowed and overall yards per game, sitting at 8th and 5th in the country in those categories. And against the super efficient Kaiser team, the rush defense is going to be key to keep this game within reach, as well as keeping Keely Watson safe and making sure he can distribute the ball to your production by committee wide receiver room.
Yes, it certainly has been the case so far in 2025. We talk about this Kaiser team. Of course, Chase Spencer comes to the forefront of all of our minds because he has been a dog. We've seen some great small school quarterbacks in the state of Florida as of late, Spencer, of course, being one of them. Jimmy, what else we need to know about this Kaiser, this squad, the Seahawks?
So let me tell you about Kaiser here.
Yeah, okay.
They put up video game numbers every single week. I don't know if you guys are going to believe me when I tell you this. 514 yards per game on offense.
Jeez.
That's ridiculous.
That's probably better than video games, honestly.
You got all the sliders
That's
on.
sliders,
Yeah.
Max.
Playing
That is
rookie
sliders,
mode.
Max.
Crazy. By the way, to the tune of 248 rushing yards a game. I'm not going to slam the desk again, but run the damn balls. Doesn't have to be that complicated, man. I love running the football. How you doing, ladies? Hey, just run the football. Run the football today for Kaiser. You're at home against a really good St. Thomas squad. Expect that to continue today. Jaden Miller, 406 rushing yards a game, 7 touchdowns. Dylan Simon, also 290 rushing yards and 5 touchdowns. They got a dual threat backfield. They can pour it on.
That was great, Jimmy.
Jimmy, bro,
great.
you are an electric factory,
Thank
dude.
you.
Yep,
Thank
Kaiser
you.
gonna run the damn ball. Hey, how you doing, ladies? Hey, this Kaiser team, they're really freaking good, guys. They're really freaking good.
Hey, man, I'm locked in.
Ladies, you guys know about Chase Spencer?
Yeah, come on, tell me about Chase Spencer.
That is awesome. That is a really good one. And we'll switch over. Matt, I'll hold you for one more second here as we continue to talk NAIA football. And boys, one that we want to talk about is we take one more look at the great scene here live from UW-Platteville ahead of an incredible matchup. We've got an awesome atmosphere and environment already loaded up for their matchup against the Eagles here coming this afternoon. But let's stay in the NAIA scene, guys. There's a matchup today that I really want to talk about that on any other year, Matt, I think we could agree, would have a lot more attention to it. This is the GPAC Showdown, of course. I'm referring to Morningside and Northwestern. The last time one of these teams was not the conference champion inside of the Great Plains Athletic Conference, that was 2015. It's been a decade, guys. This year, that might still be the case with Morningside and their run. The Mustangs, they've won 4 of the last 5, a 1 o'clock kick in Orange City, Iowa. Matt, this is definitely an interesting one. Northwestern, not the start that we've come to associate with the Red Raiders.
Yeah, absolutely. Sitting at 3-3 on this season for the Red Raiders is not where they've been in any recent memory. This has definitely been a team that has tried to find its way post Jalen Gramstad, post a lot of those athletes that have gone on to Division I schools or like bigger schools or bigger opportunities, which, you know, shout out to them. They're great athletes. They completely deserve it. But it's been a bit of a battle this year for Northwestern trying to figure things out. They did get some momentum back last week in a shutout win over Briar Cliff, especially emotional win for them. Their bus actually on the way to the game crashed. A few guys had minor injuries that had to go to the hospital, but the team ultimately pulled through. And the head coach, Matt McCarty for Northwestern, mentioned that, you know, it's not an ideal spark, but it certainly is the one that it looks like the team needed. And this is a game that Northwestern certainly won't have issues getting up for. I'm really curious to see if they can piece this together. But seeing Morningside in person last week play my Dakota Wesleyan Tigers, I will tell you that will not be easy because they are very good.
That is certainly the case. And, yeah, I had the chance to talk with Colby, the quarterback over there. Phenomenal name, by the way. There's a little bit of an L difference, but great either way. And he had told me, you know, that accident, that was something that really impacted the team. Their bus, unfortunately, ran into a pole, it sounds like. And, you know, initially the reaction was like, really? But then you hear about it. One of the kids on the team suffered a broken sternum in that crash. There were multiple others that were bloodied up and beat up pretty bad that had to seek medical attention. We're all very thankful to report that all of the guys in that Red Raider squad have made are making a full recovery and will be back playing this great game. And sorry to leave you guys with a really heavy hitter right there, but I just wanted to really bring light to that and say that we're very fortunate and thankful that those guys are doing well and hope that they can come out and perform against what will obviously no doubt be a quality Morningside side today, Matt. So once again, Matt Schwarzler, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us, brother.
Thank you, Matt.
You bet. You bet. Been a pleasure, fellas.
And as we cut back here, we're back here to UW-Platteville boys ahead of an incredible matchup versus UW-La Crosse. I want to take a second here. We got a little bit time in the rundown. I want to talk about something.
Ooh, yes.
Here we have a little thing here that I am excited about for later today. This, of course, I'm referring to is the Walter Camp game ball from Starter Sports. Get a great look at it right there. We are very fortunate to partner with the Walter Camp Football Foundation, which is the oldest All-American team in all of college football. They're making their way into small college ball, and they have presented us with some of these in-person game balls to present to the best player of the game and the matchup that we are at today, fellas. So after the game today, as we watch from the field and get a soak in this environment and atmosphere, we're going to have our eyes on a couple of these guys and see who will get the first ever Small School Saturday Division I Rejects, whatever.
This is a big one.
This
is
the inaugural.
This is the inaugural.
Yes, it feels like a very big deal. So we are certainly excited to present this. Big thank you to Walter Camp Football Foundation as well as Starter Sports to providing us with these footballs and helping get us going here. And as I'm doing a little bit of shout-outs and thank yous, I want to make sure the actual camera is working over here, and it is not. But we have a new man behind the cameras today.
Hey.
Give me a second to see if we can't get his camera working. Oh, no, Eli. The camera is going to go crap on me right now. Give me about 10 seconds to see if I can't fix this.
I was told Eli looks like Braun Strowman from the WWE, and that was my initial introduction to him. So I hope that...
No, right now his camera is taking a dump. It's not working.
That's all right.
Very handsome man, young nonetheless, though.
Absolutely.
Very handsome young man.
Very handsome. Yep.
We are going to...
Look at that smile over there.
We are going to figure that out. We are going to be getting into our difference makers for today's matchup here very shortly, guys. Before we do that, we have one more message from the fine folks at UW-Platteville. Another massive thank you to the fine folks of UW-Platteville for hosting us out here today, boys. And before we get into these difference makers, look what I got to work during the break. There he is. Eli Schlicht running the cameras, his debut on Small School Saturday.
Eli's Igloo.
Eli, are you ready to make some like legit game picks today? We're coming to you for sure.
Yeah, I feel nervous, but I'm ready.
I love the honesty, man.
Tell the people a little bit about yourself. How's the experience been so far? And of course, if they have any quarrels with the camera and the quality, I just send them all to you.
It's all your fault, man.
It's all my fault if something goes wrong. Running it back here, Kobe Manzo, my boss up at Northern Michigan University.
Whoa.
Yeah, so video intern up there. I'm a sophomore and love to be out here producing this show.
Heck yeah.
Hey, Eli, I got a question for you. Do you think the Cats get their first win in 3 years today?
Yup.
Yes.
Let's go.
Love it.
Okay.
Love it. Let's
so
go.
unofficially first game pick for Eli on the show, and then we'll of course get to our game picks later on here, fellas. So that's gonna be an exciting one as we continue to move forward here in Small School Saturday. And Eli, you turn your mic off now, so we get there he is.
There it is.
Thank you, sir. We'll come back to you undoubtedly when we get to our game picks, my friend. But let's talk about our difference makers in today's contest, fellas. The guys have been assigned each to talk about one individual on either of these teams that we believe is going to be a big-time difference maker in today's matchup. Seth, you got the task of picking someone from the Pioneers.
An absolute dog on the offensive line, Josh Zitzer. Plays left tackle for the Pioneers, but also moves around a little bit in the interior if he needs to. 2024 all-conference or second-team all-conference offensive lineman a year ago. His dream car is a Toyota Tacoma.
Yes. How about an O-lineman?
Which is absolutely electric, and he plays offensive line just like that dream car. Reliable, tough, and a whole lot of horsepower, baby. He's played in 27 straight games, fellas, including a ton in the WIAC, man, obviously. He's been holding it down on that left side of the offensive line for a long time. He's going to have a big day to account for some of those zone pressures and that aggressive style defense that La Crosse plays, but Josh Zitzer, man, absolute weapon.
What about just epitome of an offensive lineman? Like, what a dude that you want to have anchoring your front five.
I would be concerned if it was anything other than something in that category. Like, if I'm like, oh, yeah, it's a Lambo for an O-line, screw that. No, give me the freaking Toyota Tacoma.
This offensive line for Platteville has been fun to learn about.
Yeah.
I won't sit here and lie to you and say I pulled up the film and watched all the O-line tape on the Pioneers, but what I will tell you is that doing a deep dive this week, these guys are humble, they're selfless, and that's exactly what you need from the front five of any quality football team. Cade, flip things over. Talk about someone from the defensive secondary from this Eagle squad.
Yeah, and if you guys are avid watchers of the show, and especially live shows, I have a common denominator here. I have a soft spot for DBs, especially a guy like this who's 5'11", 185 pounds of pure heart and dog. He plays like one of the biggest guys in the field, which is what I admire about him the most. He started all 12 games last year. He was a first-team all-region, first-team all-conference. He was tied for the league lead in 4 interceptions. And already, not even halfway, I guess you could say a little halfway into the season, he's on pace to break that. He's got 2 picks already this year coming against Whitewater and Carnegie Mellon. And I say this week in and week out, guys, and I don't know if people really understand the meaning behind this, but as a defensive back, more importantly a cornerback, the less they're talking about you, the better. I think you guys have heard me say this ad nausea.
O-line, defensive back, it kind of goes across position groups, right?
Meaning as a DB, for a little breakdown here, they're fast to show your blown coverages, your miscommunications, but when you're out there clamping the number 1 receiver, you think that, the top media market's going to post you running stride to stride with their best receiver. So no, the less they're talking about you, the better. And I absolutely love the way Trent Mullen plays. He is my sleeper pick of Walter Camp player of the game for our inaugural.
Okay.
I think he makes a huge difference in that secondary. And I might even go on a limb and say he takes one away from this Platteville offense.
Hello. I like that pick, although I will have to argue and say that the offensive output from this Platteville squad has been very fun to watch. And one guy in particular that I wanted to highlight, of course, the wide receiver, you see him on the screen here, Trevor Seiss, a guy that I had the chance to talk to earlier this week and get to know at least a little bit. He came to Platteville, fellas, as a quarterback in 2022. We've talked about a few of these guys actually in the D3 ranks that have done just that, selfless as they come. And he was very quick to deflect to the other playmakers on this team, but he's one that's made an impact in more ways than one. He said the best part of playing in this offense is the variety. They utilize me in a lot of different ways, and it's been a fun piece this season. That was what he had said about this offense. And he hasn't been a box score stuffer, certainly an impact player, very much in the way that you talk about, a guy that his blocking on the outside has been kind of the trademark of this Platteville offense and the golden standard for wide receiver cores across the country at this level. He also said the Pioneers will have some magic ready today in terms of some trickery. Trevor did throw a touchdown in 2024. Had to go back and do some research. We saw how this game finished a year ago. Could Trevor be the arm that delivers in crunch time for Platteville today?
I mean, Ryan Munz literally said that we're running a double pass on the first play of the game today.
On Small School Saturday Live.
We'll see.
He said that. So
we'll see.
Trevor, again, talking with him and doing a little bit more research. One word that describes Trevor, chill. He's a chill individual. Never too high, never too low, certainly in that middle ground. And I think that's very important for the leaders of your team. His dream job, not car, his dream job, being a head football coach.
Damn right.
Absolutely love that from him. He says his pregame ritual, boys, playing Wii golf with his teammates.
That's such a beauty. I love this guy. I love this guy. Nice car.
Absolutely, fellas.
Chip in.
Close it off, Jimmy. Talk to me about your difference maker in today's contest.
Now here's a guy that can run the football. Gabe Lynch, obviously last week, 22-yard touchdown to tie the game at Perkins Stadium in Whitewater. I mean, just unbelievable performance. But last year, I got a crazy stat for you guys. Against River Falls, he had 38 carries for 229 yards. This guy is a workhorse. You can go check the box score stuff if you don't believe me. By the way, this kid, my favorite part about him, he's a man of God. He's leads a Bible study with about 30 or 40 guys in it. Every Thursday night, they go to someone's house after practice, and he said it is honestly the best thing that's ever happened to him since he's been at La Crosse, finding his brothers in Christ. So that's always great to see that the leaders of the team are leading these guys toward Jesus, and that's a beautiful thing to see. Also, last week, Gabe Lynch became the 11th player in La Crosse history to run for 2,000 yards in his career, so he surpassed that number. Maybe gets 2,500 this year.
Hey.
You know, that's a heck of an accomplishment to get 2,000 career rushing yards. Gabe is also the team barber. He gets the linemen all. He gets them all lined up before the game. Gets the line all swagged out.
Does he fill the water jugs too before the game?
Hey, he does everything, man. He's a jack of all trades. So actually, where's that football? And that's gonna have Gabe Lynch's name on it after the game today, I think.
There it is,
right
brother.
Here, Gabe Lynch going right here.
That's going to
You gonna print it on there?
Yeah, we get screen printed.
So, how you going, ladies? That might be the best moment of Saturday.
That's going to be hard to top, man.
That's the Jimmy Martin effect right there.
Let's flip over, and fellas, it's time, of course, to get to a very fun part of the show, the game picks. We're picking winners across the country, Division II, Division III, NAIA, of course, culminating with the Pioneers or the Eagles today, and who will come out on top of this matchup. We're here on site in Platteville. Of course, once again, Small School Saturday live from Platteville, Wisconsin. Fellas, we're starting things off in the ranks of Division II. Fort Hays State going on the road, taking on Northwest Missouri State. Coach Meneman and company, the Bearcats, have been red hot after a Week 0 loss. Does Fort Hays State, the Tigers, do they have the firepower to get things going? Jimmy, I will start with you.
I personally am going to take the Northwest Missouri State today in this one. I just think it's going to be a close game, but Fort Hays is going to fall a little short.
And I'm going to tell you for the first of what probably will be multiple times today, Coach McMenamin and company have been red hot so far in 2025. Again, they learned a lot from that first loss against a quality Minnesota State side. And the things that we've seen from them, especially offensively, have been very encouraging. Their offensive identity really seems to have evolved, and they've started to find and discover what that really is. Because saying that is one thing, but being able to actually quantify what it is that you do well offensively, I think the Bearcats have started to figure that out the last couple weeks.
I love what McMenamin's done all year. Give me the Bearcats to clear.
And Cade has the first opportunity.
I mean, this is just it's getting ridiculous at this point. And I like to think of myself, you know, I jump off the stage when, you know, the guests come on, and I'm a pretty selfless guy. And I'm done doing that crap, man. I'm done saving the graphic. But I genuinely think that Fort Hays State wins this football game. Come on.
Yes.
The Tigers get one
I'm
pick
not
there.
I'm not genuinely saving the graphic. Like usually I am, and my record shows like I said, Kobe, they better not question my credibility. You know what I mean? Or else we can put the helmet on, go out there, and start running around. But I'm just saying, I'm done being nice for the picks. I'm going straight off my heart.
Fort Hays State, their offensive backfield has certainly been a calling card in 2025. They have a tall task for them, of course, this Saturday, but it's nothing they haven't shown over the course of MIAA play already. They already have marquee wins across the board. And, fellas, if we take a look, actually, real quick, at our game pick record so far.
Let's just stay away from that, actually.
Let's take a look at the graphic. I currently lead the charge 22-8. Seth and Jimmy pretty close behind Cade, trying to get back in the race today.
I mean, so happens you get the short end of the stick sometimes. You got to roll with the punches.
I love that.
Gavin, after the last outing, 3-2 total. You'll notice Eli not on the graphic yet. The next one for Small School Saturday, Eli, will that be a positive or a negative record? What is your overall feeling here? You haven't had one yet.
For sure positive if Gavin's is negative. You know, came in, took his spot, so I'm beating Gavin.
Yes, that's if as long as you do that, that'd be a good one. Let's go down the rest of the D2 slate. Texas A&M Kingsville going on the road, traveling all the way up to Central Washington. Jimmy,
I love a good run game. Give me Central Washington. These guys just run the rock, man. They can pound it. Give me Central Washington.
Central Washington has done a very good job of traveling in recent memory. They've gone on the road and won some big-time games, especially in some hostile environments. What they're even better at is winning at home. Give me the Wildcats.
You know, I am kind of a guy that likes to go against, you know, the favorite, but I'm trying to win these picks. I'm not trying to lose, so give me Central Washington.
And here we go again.
I told you, I'm not doing it anymore. I'm not falling into the rat poison, right? I'm going to do it. I'm going with my heart. Give me Central Washington.
There it is, the first clean sweep of the day. We've got the Wildcats taking care of business up there in Washington over Texas A&M Kingsville. And as we move forward, fellas, we got another big-time matchup, perhaps the game of the week in D2 football. West Florida playing on the road at West Alabama in a big-time Gulf South matchup.
You know, one of our teammates at Northern Michigan, John McMullen, did some really good football playing down in West Florida. I'm going with West Florida today. Got to go with West Florida.
There you go. Jimmy's got the Argos, and I don't blame him. Coach Caleb Nobles and I have had a chance to talk, and I really feel great about where this program is going, West Florida. They came onto the scene, and they were in a national championship within 5 years of starting up a football program. That tells you all you need to know about the Argonauts. The program will constantly trend upward as long as Coach Nobles is at the helm. Unfortunately, today he's going up against Coach Cochran and the West Alabama Tigers.
Sorry for laughing, bro. They just got me to jump off sides back here and on a little snap count. So that's why I was jumping over here. My bad for interrupting.
Automatic first down.
Hold out.
Kill it.
Wait, let's see the.
Oh,
give me the. Oh,
he's gone. Touchdown.
I love it, boys.
Those are some football guys back there.
Those
man.
are
I'll tell you
football
what,
guys.
That's a football guy if I've ever seen one.
It's okay. You already don't have to save the graphic, but Seth, where are you going down here in the Gulf South?
I love West Florida. I love their campus based on what I've seen on the internet. I also love their colors. I love their uniforms, and I love how they play football. Give me West Florida.
There it is.
Yeah,
Cade, will it be the first split pick, or are you going to go with the committee here?
No, I have 2 words. Sorry for the little glitch there, but I have 2 words here, and I might genuinely start an agenda. Marcus Stokes is the best quarterback in the nation, and I will back that up. Not at this moment, but with stats that he has and the ability that he has to play at. I mean, this guy had a bunch of D1 offers coming out of high school too. So I mean, it's not like he's
not under the radar by any means.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
He's proving it.
This guy is an SEC caliber quarterback in my eyes.
So for the record, you're taking West Florida.
Yes, sorry.
There it is, the 3-1 pick, and Kobe actually saves the graphic on this one. I
Kobe.
like when
Shout
that
out.
happens. Yeah, Coach Cochran and company, he is someone that I would line up and play for any day, and it's not just the guy at the helm. Of course, the players play, the coaches coach, but for me, this West Alabama team, Spencer Arsenault and company, I'm excited to hopefully one day see them in person, but for now, we will watch from afar. Fellas, let's get into the D3 games. First up, we've got Ripon going on the road at Chicago, Jimmy.
Come on, guys. You know who I'm taking. 3-1-2, Chi-Town.
Is this the Bears or
the Maroons?
The
Maroons.
Because I'm
here.
taking Ripon if it's the Bears.
They, they actually
Chicago.
have a bunch of Big Ten championships. Chicago.
They do. The
They
first
have-
Heisman Trophy winner went to University of Chicago.
Really?
Yeah, Big Ten title winners. Yeah.
His name's Jay something.
Their
Gosh darn
stadium,
it.
their stadium is sick too. It's right downtown, kind of downtown, nestled in there, downtown Chicago, right? Yeah.
Well, after hearing all of that, give me the Maroons as well.
Hey, there we go.
Looks like the Cincinnati Reds.
Give me the school that I for sure could not get into, and that would be U Chicago as well.
Got a bunch
Yeah,
of
and
rocket scientists out there, man. Holy cow.
I am far from rocket scientist. This pick may be way off, but I was recruited by Ripon and Ripon. Sorry.
Wow.
And
obviously, the recruting process may have stopped a little bit prematurely.
it was also during the black and white time, so it's been a little.
They're gonna play like a ripened banana.
a couple brain damages in between then and there. But
For the record, you got Ripon in this.
yes, I'm taking Ripon.
Hey, now there
The
it
Red
is.
Hawks, right?
Here we are.
Hey.
There we are. Some Red Hawk love here in Platteville, Wisconsin, boys.
Shout out.
Absolutely. Moving through the rest of the Division III slate, Jimmy, start us off once again. We've got Whitworth out west in a matchup at Linfield.
I have been awful chalky today, and that trend is going to continue. Linfield's coming in at 16.5-point favorites. I got Linfield by a lot in this one.
Yeah, I won't lie to you. I think this feels like a layup kind of pick for myself as well, talking with Pat Coleman. Linfield, if you look at the numbers, what they've done at home against any kind of opponent out there in Oregon has been abysmal if you're not a fan of winning football games for these opponents. Linfield has dominated inside of conference play, and this is one that for Linfield, I think they come out on the scene and get a really statement win today over a Whitworth team that is certainly making some noise. I think it's all Linfield, Seth.
Yeah, they have underperformed so far this season to their own standard.
Yes.
To their own standard, but not to the standard of the rest of the league per se. So I would love to take Whitworth here, but give me Linfield all day long.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
Kate, it once again comes back to you.
I'm not going to play any heroics here. There's a guy by the name of Brady Crenshaw on this Linfield team. He might be the most productive defensive player in the country at this point. He's caused 3 forced fumbles and has 2 picks already this year. Look for this team. They have every single one of their wins has come in double-digit fashion. I don't see a way that ends today. Give me Linfield.
Absolutely. And then what could also be argued as the game of the week in D3 football, John Carroll taking on DePaul. The Tigers have a tall task inside of conference play. Can they get the win today, or will the John Carroll Blue Streaks come away with the dub?
This is the game I was having the hardest time to pick, honestly. This is a really, really tough one. Give me John Carroll today.
Okay.
Wow.
On the
John
road,
Carroll.
Dogs.
Road Dogs.
I don't mind that pick. You talk about Sempton Helter, his receiver target in Montgomery, and the offense, how potent they've been. With that being said, I know Seth is going to say it as well. Give me the brotherly love with the Tigers, the Ballantyne Bros, the offensive attack from them, the defense that has been suffocating at the line of scrimmage. I think DePaul rolls.
Here's what I'll say about John Carroll. Forever they've been the outcast, right? They've been the outcast. Nobody thinks that they can win their respective league. And that would be correct. They're not going to win this league either, so give me DePaul to prove that $80 million donation was well worth it.
Absolutely. Cade, what will it be?
Yeah, there's. I'll be blatantly honest. There's really not a whole logic behind this pick at all. But other than the fact that I think John Carroll wins this football game.
Okay, and there it is. So now our first split graphic of the day, we go to the man behind the camera as I try and make sure that his camera is actually functioning.
Shout out to the band playing in the band.
And it's not. But camera is not working, but you've seen Eli before. Eli, what will your pick be today? Is it DePaul or John Carroll that picks up the W?
Chopping up some of the footage,
Whoa.
watching it,
Some ball knowledge.
Give me
John
DePaul.
Gruden?
Give me DePaul, the
Play
Tigers.
for the paw, baby. Play for the
There
paw.
it is, fellas. Let's get quickly into the NAIA games. First up in Florida, we've got St. Thomas on the road at Kaiser.
How do you pick against Kaiser? At home.
Oh, yeah.
Come on. You're playing against a really solid St. Thomas team, but like we said, that Kaiser offense putting up video game numbers every week. 514 yards of offense. Expect that to continue today. It's going to be a high-scoring affair. Give me Kaiser.
I'm taking Shea Spencer in this Seahawk offense as well.
Yeah, no disagreements there. Yeah, give me Kaiser all day long.
Yep, sweep the board. Kaiser wins this one.
And I'm struggling to keep up with the graphics, but you can see that Kaiser is the overall consensus from the boys here at D1R. I got to make sure I get the full graphic in because let's say St. Thomas goes out there and pulls out some magic.
I would love it.
I got to give them something to tweet out at us and tell us how much we don't know ball.
We are welcoming, I feel like people
absolutely.
are like,
Yeah,
it's a different generation on social media. I would love to see like a Jimmy on the freezing cold takes.
Just Jimmy?
What's up, ladies?
Not myself personally, but Jimmy could do the.
Let's go now talk McPherson and friends in the KCAC matchup of the year so far.
You
got a friend in me.
All right.
Give me friends.
I'm also rolling with the Falcons. Their offense has been stifling. Defense has been suffocating. That's all you need to know about this Falcons squad. There's nothing friendly about their style of ball.
You know what? Give me McPherson spelled with a PH
There
instead of
it
an F.
is.
I love
Yes.
it. Give me McPherson.
How?
all day long.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with. So I have a question. Is it UF or FU?
Friends University.
Okay,
FU
so
Falcons.
Here we go. I'm gonna say a big FU to McPherson today, and Friends gets it done.
And there we go.
Love it.
And we're demonetized. Yeah, it's actually not monetized. We don't run any ads on the broadcast
we do
here.
not.
But McPherson, the one pick from Seth, their friends, takes the overall consensus. And finally, boys, in the NAIA round, what again could be the game of the week. Lindsey Wilson going on the road to take on Campbellsville. Jimmy, who gets it done?
So Campbellsville is 7.5-point underdogs, and they're not just going to cover that. They're going to win outright at home against Lindsey Wilson as 7.5-point underdogs. Give me a plus 300 money line on that one.
You know, I actually really toiled with this pick, and at the end of the day, I was like, man, I talked with Coach Kleckler and company from Lindsey Wilson and Devontae Sanders in the backfield. There's no way they go and lose this one. They've got more marquee wins on the schedule already. I think this is just another one added onto the resume of LWU.
You know, I'm not going to give us a detailed answer, but I'm going to go with the logo that I am more scared of. And give me Lindsey Wilson just because it's a creepy little looking logo. So
You think that's scarier than the
Tiger?
The saber tooth?
I've played on a team that was the Tigers. I have not played on a team that looks like
Phantom?
Yeah, the Phantom Menace.
Blue Raiders, for the record.
Batman Phantom Menace was one of my favorite movies as a child. So give me the what's their mascot?
The Blue Raiders.
Give me the Blue Raiders all day long.
Cade, who will it be?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Lindsey Wilson here. I just think that they're too much. They're gonna end up being too much on the offensive side of the ball. So.
There is your pick, Lindsey Wilson, 3-1 over Campbellsville. Fellas, that leaves us with the last pick of the day, picking Platteville and the Pioneers, or will it be Wisconsin-La Crosse and the Eagles here in Platteville, Wisconsin? It's been a great turnout so far. The tailgate, of course, has emptied out as people and fans make their way
to the game?
towards the stadium.
Okay, good.
They're waiting for us.
Yes.
They got something for us.
Now,
making sure.
Although there's not a ton of people behind us right now, the environment here has been incredible. We've gone long on the broadcast, so that's why people are already getting into the stadium ahead of this matchup. But, fellas, again, we need to hear directly from these athletes about how important this game is and how they see this matchup.
And they're probably the most athletic team we face, but they also bring that physicality. If we're going to have success Saturday, we obviously need to match that physicality, and we need to win our reps.
You know, they're physical, they're fast. They throw something different in every single game that I've seen so far through films. You're locked in, you got to bring your lunch pail on every snap.
Nameless, faceless opponent. We're going to play our game, we're going to make the simple plays, and we're going to do what we can.
In WIAC games, there's going to be a lot of ups and downs and momentum swings. They're a super high-powered offense. You know, they're going to throw the football around.
Last year, had to go to overtime to win, so we'll see. Hopefully we can take the next step here and maybe get them regulation this year.
I think the thing that they do the best is, they'll disguise their stunts and everything. At one moment they're rushing 3 or 4, and then there's sometimes they're rushing the kitchen sink.
Every single Saturday, especially in this league, you have to be tough. And that's just two hard-nosed football teams going at it. That's why you play this game.
From Platteville, Wisconsin, and fellas, it is now time to make the pick of the day. Jimmy, of course, we start with you. Who will it be? Will it be the home team Pioneers, or will Coach Janus and company come in and spoil everyone's afternoon?
I think today what it really comes down to is this home field advantage for the Pioneers. I think if this game is played in La Crosse, it might have a different outcome. But with that being said, I'm going to take the Pioneers.
Oh, baby.
From Wisconsin Platteville to win this one. Let's go, baby.
Platteville, Coach talked about it. They have come in and they've done a great job of responding to adversity. That is the name of the game for this Platteville team. Apparently, they've done a really good job of that. We're going to see, because you watched that game in person at River Falls. There were a lot of things to not be very proud of and excited about. As Kate, I believe, did just get stung by a wasp instead of small.
Did you really?
Saturday.
Yeah, it's literally every time.
We got this.
But they've done a great job of responding to adversity, guys, and to me, that's a really telling sign of a team. We're going to find out very early on today if this Platteville team is up to the challenge of the Eagles. Unfortunately, the Eagles have way too much going offensively. I don't know if this Platteville offense can keep up with the Eagles. I know I've been the spoiler. I've picked the villain in a lot of these games. To me, Coach Janus and company have so much going right for them in 2025, and they are not a team to rest on their laurels. This is a team that has aspirations of a deep playoff run to show the WIAC belongs in the national stage. I think Platteville is just another step along the way for La Crosse.
On one side of the ball, you got Coach Janus and the Eagles, who are absolutely loaded. But on the other side, you have the reigning, the defending WIAC champions in the Pioneers. So give me the Pioneers to swing that axe directly into the hearts of their own self. So give me the Eagles to beat the hell out of the Pioneers.
Wait a minute. The graphic needs to be changed. That was a La Crosse pick, for the record. What a great roller coaster of events right there. You had everyone go. What do you mean La Crosse?
I don't even think they know what happened.
He doesn't even know. La Crosse is officially the pick from Seb.
Roll the tape back. I said they're going to swing the axe directly into their own hearts.
Oh my goodness. Cade, good luck following that, bro.
Yeah.
Yep. Go ahead.
On that note, great show, guys. Now listen, I'm a huge fan of Coach Janus. Every time I hear him talk, I feel like I want to put the helmet and shoulder pads back on and go out there and start running into people. But I'm gonna keep it really. I'm usually one for dramatics. La Crosse is winning this football game. I don't really see a world where they don't. I could be entirely wrong. I'm totally entitled to my opinion. But La Crosse is very high-powered. They have veteran leadership. Their defense is stout. especially that D-line. Look for that D-line to make a huge difference today for La Crosse.
I like that, man. La Crosse is the consensus pick here from the fellas at Small School Saturday. 3 of us picking the Eagles. And once again, a massive, massive thank you to UW-Platteville for bringing us out here and adding to what's already going to be an incredible atmosphere and environment, fellas. Thank you so much to the staff here from Platteville, to Dr. Tammy Avetovich, the Chancellor, for joining us, both head coaches, Eli behind the camera, Cade Manzo, Seth Howard, Jimmy Martin, Kobe Manzo, Allie Kroll back in Marquette, everyone who was texting me to make sure the audio was right at the beginning of the show. This is certainly a group production, and we are leaving here with some custom coasters as well. So a little bit of an added benefit, fellas.
How heartwarming.
So thank you very much for D1 Rejects. This has been Small School Saturday.